the flagship station of the world champion Boston Celtics. WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots will open up their regular season this coming Sunday in Cincinnati. They once again had veteran offensive lineman Sidney So missing at practice yesterday. It's the second practice in a row he's missed. Projected starting left tackle Verdarian Lowe listed as limited, along with Josh Uche. The team will practice again today and then go through a walkthrough on Saturday before traveling to Cincinnati. NFL regular season began last night. Kansas City Chiefs beat Baltimore 27-20. The Ravens had a touchdown overturned on the final play of the game. Andy Reid knew it was out of bounds.
The guys upstairs saw it, and so they knew he was out. We were just kind of waiting after that, but we battled so hard down the stretch, for it to come down to that was something.
Patrick Mahomes, a touchdown pass and an interception. Rookie wide receiver Xavier Worthy, a touchdown catch and a touchdown run. And tonight in Brazil, Green Bay will play Philadelphia. Red Sox off last night. They played the historically bad Chicago White Sox at Fenway Park tonight. The White Sox, with only 31 wins, they are in line to post the worst 162-game record in Major League Baseball history. And at the U.S. Open Tennis Tournament, Jessica Pegula won. She is through to the women's final. She will face Aryna Sabalenka. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm John Wallach on Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 6:30.
Here we go.
Boom.
I win. Boom.
Yeah.
Hit somebody.
We've got a passion for Boston sports.
Get angry.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Wait, hello.
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
He's naked. He has a sword.
Oopity about with a football.
98.5. The Hub.
Bruins are back from the West Coast.
Cocaine and hookers. Yes. Na.
Is it okay to use this for the radio?
Yeah. Welcome to the show, you sweet bitch. I'm gonna run the city naked.
I'm a Bostonian. I'm going to parade. Work is canceled.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Good morning. We are the Toucher and Hardy Show, Town Fair Tire Studios, 617-779-0985. We are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, and you can watch us on YouTube. Look no further than 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube, and then smash the subscribe button. I take it that you have your big things going this weekend. Just you two in general. You always got stuff cooking.
I got a couple of things cooking. Yeah. What you want me to know? You want to know just briefly?
Yeah, you tell me.
Okay, so the biggest thing hanging over my head right now is an aeration and overseeding scheduled to take place a week from Monday. Now, do I cut the grass tomorrow? Because I was like on a 6-7 day rotation during most of the summer. It is now fallen into more like an 8-9 day rotation.
Oh, boy.
Do I cut the grass tomorrow and then probably cut it again a week from Sunday, even though it may not totally need it before the aeration and overseeding? Or do I ask and allow the guy who's coming to aerate and overseed to cut it himself a week from Monday before he does the aeration and overseed? I have a chart. I have a calendar. I have dry erase. I have protractors. I have compasses.
Why do protractors?
Because, Wallach, how are you going to protract the thing without a protractor? You're going to do it freehand?
You know what?
So-
I plead ignorance on this, Hardy. You clearly are more knowledgeable than I. I had no idea.
I was also invited, just very briefly, Fred, to a Red Sox game on both Saturday night and Sunday afternoon, and I declined invitations to
come
both.
on.
That is a good friend that'll offer you those tickets.
Oh, you mean my wife?
What a sacrifice.
Wow.
Well, yeah, you're a good
The
friend,
opponent,
your wife.
well, it's not the Red Sox. It's the opponent this
She's-
weekend. That's the important thing.
She's my
Well,
best
I'm
friend.
aware of that, Jonathan. All right, so when they aerate in the seed,
Overseed.
okay, they overseed on purpose.
Yeah.
Will you be monitoring things through the window?
This is a friend of mine who has done this for me a few times now, and if I didn't know better, I would think he purposely does it while I'm at work.
Really?
Yeah, I think he plans to be there. He listens to the show. What's up, Dave? And I think Dave does it when he knows I'm not there.
Because in all honesty, like, so aerating, does he have like a machine that does it, or
Yes.
he just okay? So he has a machine that aerates, which has to interest you, right?
Yes, it is an internal combustion machine. So, oh.
Because it's not like a garden weasel. It's
I'm already interested. You're gonna fire that thing up. He's got a good spark going there. Good. Yeah, you got to prime that pump on that thing first. Okay. Oh yeah, I've got a motor like that. Okay, good. So yes, that does interest me, and sometimes I just like talking grass. you know?
Okay. Now, will you stand outside, or are you a little more self-aware and you just kind of look through a window?
I'm more of a window looker. I told you that the air conditioning guy caught me looking at him. After,
Oh no, I know a girl that thought that story was the greatest.
yeah, the guy who told me I didn't need to trail him.
Yes,
for the rest
yes.
of the day, and then he caught me looking at him through the living room.
Oh
window.
no, you didn't say that part.
Oh yeah, 100%.
How'd you leave that out? That's great.
Well, that part was embarrassing. You know, I think it was embarrassing for him to say that he didn't want me trailing him. It's like, dude, you know what? Oh, all of a sudden you don't need help? I'm here to help. I got wrenches. I got stuff. So that's on him. But,
yeah, if you don't know, real quick, and then you say the window part. So Hardy trailed. He had someone fixing his air conditioning.
128.
Yeah,
Love
128,
them.
right.
Love 128
Good,
plumbing,
fine
cooling, and
sponsor.
electric. They're fantastic.
And he had the guy over. They were very prompt, whatever. They're great. So the guy comes over, and Hardy just starts following him around with his hand in his pockets.
I took him up to the attic where the unit was that was having the issue. And, you know, I say we checked a couple of things up there. Apparently it was him checking the things. And me checking them doesn't do anything. And as I was getting ready to take him outside to where the actual, you know, the condenser unit is, that's when he told me, he's like, oh, no, you don't need to trail me. That's fine. I got this. You know, you're relax. Go have a cup of coffee or something. I got it.
And then no add on to it. Now what happened?
So then he was out there, and I was very interested in what he was doing. I'm not checking his work. I just, I want to learn. These are the things that interest me. So I went over to it is a tall, slender window that overlooks, kind of perfectly the AC units. And it's probably 8 feet away from where he was sitting, slightly below. And I was looking around a plant that's also in that window. So I was kind of peering around
I know
the
all
plant
about that.
with my face up against the window. And as if he had a sixth sense, he looked up and looked right at me. And then I dropped to the floor.
Every bad sitcom ever. That's good.
That might go above and beyond anything that's been a sitcom. That might be only Home Improvement. That might be an exclusive the territory
I
of Tim
just
Allen.
wanted to know what type of tool he was using to get the screws off that condenser panel.
Did you feel like this? I'm being serious too. Did you feel like as guilty as you would have been if you were like watching a woman through a window?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The same, well, not as guilty, but the same level of embarrassment.
Right. No, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, you're not breaking the law, but I
No.
mean, but that same like, oh no, I've been caught, and there's no way he didn't think you were the biggest weirdo in the world, like staring at him. But I wonder if he gets that sometimes because you can't be the only one. There's got to be a bunch of dudes that like follow the guys around. Maybe they all like me because I just completely leave them alone because I don't want to know.
Well, what do you offer them to eat and drink? I offered to make him a breakfast sandwich, and he laughed. And then I tried to play it off. I'm like, no, I just made one for my son. It's bacon, egg, and cheese on an English muffin. It's delicious. I got all this stuff out. And he said, no, I gotta get back.
Yeah.
The only time I can recall giving anyone anything is when we moved from Atlanta and the movers slept in our lawn. And so I brought them out like a couple bottles of liquor. And I've never seen people so happy in my entire life.
Slept on your lawn?
Yeah. The movers came, they took the stuff out of the house and they were leaving the next morning. So they just slept in the lawn. Like we had no idea they were going to. They just slept in the lawn. Now, did they have tents? No. They slept in the lawn.
What? Yeah, I guess a moving truck probably like isn't a good place to sleep. There's not like a big bench in the back or anything.
And also, it was around Memorial Day in Atlanta, so like I'm sure they didn't want to sleep in the truck. Like I'm sure it was super hot. So they were slept in our lawn. That's absolutely 100% true. I'm not making it up.
Wow.
Yeah, because they didn't leave, and we're like, what's going on? And they're like, and I mean, we couldn't understand each other, but they just started sleeping in the lawn. And so I brought out
a handle of Jim Beam and said, here, just suck this down and then hit the road early, boys.
No, we were moving. So wasn't going to, I mean, believe it or not, I wasn't going to take a huge box of like our alcohol. So I was just like, here, take it. Like, you guys have it. I don't know if they drank it that night, but they did it. There is a company out there for you. Dan, go ahead.
That is so funny. So my dad is just too old to do things on his own, but he's like a genius. Like the level of like we're getting out the ohm meter and checking the voltage of things. He follows around every guy, like giving them advice and stuff. It is the funniest thing. I feel so bad for the repair guys. It is the greatest thing to watch. And I just I love the image of Hardy with his hands in his pockets. Just, so what you doing?
Yeah, kicking rocks.
Greatest image. I love it.
Like kicking the ground and being like, I know it's none of my beeswax, but I mean, this is my unit.
What kind of socket wrench you got there?
Give your dad my number, and if he just wants to hang out and talk, we can, because I feel like we're birds of a feather.
You know what's funny is that the one time there was an air conditioner guy that said, I'm going to teach you, I want to teach you how to pull you know how there's that like thing with the handle that you pull out and then you can put it back in it, like it can, it's outside, it shuts the power off, but if you put it back in right, you probably know the name of it. But the guy's like, I want to show you how to do this, and I'm like, nah, it's cool. And he's like, no, it will save you some trips. And I'm like, no, I don't want to go out there. And he's like, yeah. And this is why I went out there. And he was just like, it's just this. And so I was like, okay. And it never worked. But it never did.
Like for a hard boot system reset, that's what he suggested you do?
So I don't know what that means, but I can tell you that it was by the outdoor unit, and it was like where I guess it was put into the wall.
Yeah.
And there's a thing with a handle, and
there's
you pull it out.
There's probably one for the hot tub at your old house, too. There has to be a trip for that, too.
Yeah. There's not a trip for it, I don't think, at my new place. But maybe there is. But that's actually a good system. The place, my old place, was a piece of garbage. They really shortchanged us on it when they built the house. Hardy, I wish I would have had Hardy there to inspect it. He could have gone out there with his hands in his pockets and told people what it's doing.
New code on those kitchen islands. I just read this the other day. You can't have the plugs on the kitchen island anymore on the exterior. Apparently, they've deemed this like a national safety threat because you plug in a toaster or a crock pot or something, you got the cord hanging off the kitchen island into that outlet right off the island.
Yeah.
Kids walk by, grab the cord, and it spills over. So if you've got an outlet on your kitchen island there, that's an antique now. You can't have one built in a new house. I'm sure you read up on that too.
No, but
I get Google alerts for stuff like that.
What I did realize is when I was in Tennessee, how they built their house, 20 some odd years ago, and that like the shower rules because of all the restrictions now on shower heads. It's like the Seinfeld, I know, but the shower heads on toilets, like everything.
Oh yeah.
Like I never realized how much I didn't like my shower, and it's got like the rain thing and everything. But the shower in my in the room that I stay in at my parents' house, I was like really enjoying it because it's so much better than the shower at my house in terms of water pressure.
I installed a new shower head in one of the bathrooms last weekend, and lucky for me, it has some kind of a chemical filter in it that needs to be changed every 6 months. So the only thing better than monkeying around with a shower head is
going back and doing it again.
Twice a year, baby.
Nice.
Twice a year, I get to take that sumbitch apart and replace the filter in there. Yep.
Do you have it in your phone? Like, does an alarm go off when you have to do it?
No, but I made a point to do it on like July 1st. Or no, not July 1st, on like in the summer, so I can figure, like right after the first of the year when I remember it, I know to do it again. Like, I'll keep like a January, August rotation on this thing.
Will you
Close
be
enough.
will the anticipation around the holidays to give yourself an early Christmas present?
It will be difficult during that time off that we, most of us have around Christmas to not jump the gun and do it in December. But whatever, hey, I got other stuff to keep me busy. I got other things.
You got other plans?
Yeah.
Okay.
You got big plans the weekend?
Your story was better, but yeah. I got to take my son to the doctor at Norwood at 8:30 in the morning on Saturday, and then he has a doubleheader at 11:30 and 1:30.
How's the shoulder?
I don't want to get into it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. He grew 4 inches. Very recently.
He's 6'3" now, correct?
Yeah, he's quite a bit taller than me now.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure it's his growing, and that's like what the doctor said, but I don't know if it, I told you, he's like, he's like, my shoulder hurts. And I'm like, where? And he's like, my shoulder, dummy. Right. And I'm like, where in your shoulder does it hurt? Huh? All right, is it an ache or is it like a stabbing pain? I ain't being stabbed. No, does it sting? I haven't gotten stung by nothing. Like, he can't describe. It's so frustrating. I'm like, is it sore? And the doctor was like, okay, it's like little league arm. And then he went off to that IMG thing, and miraculously his arm didn't hurt, and he threw by far the hardest he ever threw. And now that there's the game on this weekend, and I got to sit there for 5 hours. I mean, I'm going to leave here and there, but like in now all of a sudden his arm hurts.
Is it a long car trip to get there?
No, it's just Jamaica Plain.
Oh, okay. Not bad.
No, I don't mind, but I can, it's close enough where I don't have to stay there the whole time.
Yeah.
Which fall ball, 5 hours. No.
Sure.
Like I gotta take a break.
Oh,
I gotta take a break.
Doubleheader. It's supposed to be nice tomorrow though, right?
Yeah. It can get cold at the end. It's not that long a season.
So how are you going to make it over to the U.S. Women's Mid-Amateur at Brayburn tomorrow? Because that starts...
Well, I could just walk there if I really wanted to put on my walking shoes.
Okay, all right. Because I'll be there this weekend, too.
Really?
Checking out some golf. Yeah. Huh.
No, you're not.
Do you want to see my media gate pass, my credentials that I applied for?
You know, it was him and the guys from Highlights Magazine. Those are the two.
How much do you miss not hosting that golfing destination show? I know when you stopped doing it, that was a problem.
First of all, it was Golfing the World.
Sorry.
Golf Destinations is a different show, a rival program. That's the Mellow Yellow. We're the Mountain Dew.
Apology, sir.
Golfing the World is the Mountain Dew.
Golfing the World. How much do you miss doing that?
I still do some stuff with them every once in a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're going to Brayburn and Newton.
Yeah,
and you're gonna
probably go check out some stroke play tomorrow, and then I think match play is on Monday. But it's being honest with myself, probably that's just a stop by on the way home from work situation, more so than leaving the house and going back out.
Yeah, because Brayburn's not far from here. I mean,
that's a stop by on the way home on Monday.
Yeah.
How many interviews will it be to fill the show?
It's over.
Oh, it is over.
It's your own
I forgot
ignorance.
about that.
Sports Hub Golf Club last episode was on Sunday, John.
My fault.
I mean, don't you know the FedEx champion was just named? Now he doesn't need to do it anymore.
Yeah, that's a good
It's
point.
off season.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, there's some people around here, I don't want to say who, who think people would rather hear about football on a Sunday morning than golf.
Well, your show was early enough. I figured it wouldn't get in the way.
Well, that's what one would think, but whatever. It's fine.
That's prime real estate. I mean, that is prime real estate. I cannot believe you're going to Brayburn for some amateur women's competition.
It's the U.S. Mid-Amateur. It's a big tournament.
What the hell's wrong with you?
And you're really going? Or
Absolutely.
Did they just send you a press pass?
Just like I was at the FM Championship last weekend. Absolutely.
Well, that's a much bigger tournament than this.
I don't know. Ask Matt Parziali how big it was when he won the U.S. Mid-Amateur, and it got him into the Masters. And he played with Tiger Woods, when he won that thing. Brockton firefighter. Or maybe you don't support firefighters, Wallach. I don't know.
What?
Oh, be right. Be the number. Be right.
Oh, this is right.
That's the number.
That is the number.
That was the club.
Absolutely.
That's from Golfing the World.
Wow, that's exciting. Hey, Hardy, when you win is it true that if you win this women's mid-amateur, you get a shift?
Well, I can't win it, Fred. I'm not eligible.
No, the women that win it, they actually get a shift bussing tables at Applebee's during dinner time.
See? Hurtful and untrue.
Okay. Oh, it's going to be close. Oh, it's going in. It's going in.
Hard to believe you don't do that anymore.
No, that's him in the attic watching the guy screwing around with his air conditioner.
Watching put the furnace filter. I don't know if that's the right size. It's going to be close. Be
the right size. Be the size.
Again, Hardy is the most Midwestern dad in the history of Midwestern dads. He's all angry. He plays golf. He puts his hands in his pockets and watches people do things. It's fantastic. Well, look, that's fascinating. You're doing two fascinating things. You're wondering about when to cut the lawn before you aerate it, and you're going to you're going to be the one person at a tournament that's not related to someone.
That's so untrue.
What's the strategy? You just camp out at a hole, or you follow a group?
No, dumb. You walk the course.
Where's all the overflow for Brayburn going to go? I mean, Brayburn's not a very big parking lot.
Do you have to park at a satellite lot?
I can't wait to take a picture of the people out there and send it to you guys and show you how many people are going to be.
You can't even park on site, Fred. You got to park in like Brockton.
In all seriousness, will there be over 100 spectators?
Oh yeah, for the mid-amateur, absolutely. It's a big tournament.
105.
Well, then good luck parking, because that's on Commonwealth Avenue, and that ain't a big parking lot.
That's why I applied for the credentials, and I've got the
No, but I'm saying for just the spectators, how much to get in?
Oh, I don't know that there's a charge. Most USGA tournaments outside of the Opens, I don't believe they charge for those.
Wow. You know what? You are a wolf pack of one. That's what you are. Wow.
Huh.
That could be very easily gay porn. Hey, Brayburn, the snooty cousin of Woodland, is what they say. It is true. All right, so we'll be back. We'll catch up with everything that happened last night, including NFL football is back.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
It's NFL week on FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and they have special offers to kick us off now. kind of looks like a poodle. It's an effing poodle, dumbass.
The Sports Hub.
Did you catch a game last night?
Hey, we're touching Hardy. What went on last evening?
The NFL season kicked off last night with, I didn't know about the delay. I thought they were just like really taking their sweet time getting things going. I literally didn't find out until this morning. You have it on the background, you're doing stuff around the house. I'm like, why haven't they kicked this game off yet? Weather in the area. So if you were watching the beginning of the game and wondering why it was taking so long, they finally got underway. And it was the Baltimore Ravens visiting the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. As the Ravens got on the board first, Derrick Henry touched the ball a couple of times for the Ravens on their opening drive. Wasn't doing much until he did and scored for the Ravens to make it 7-0. Took a while, though.
By the way, the Ravens, I had a guy, he was sending me frantic texts throughout the game or before the game about Derrick Henry first touchdown. Take the prop.
Oh, really?
And it didn't look great. I mean, it was an 11-play drive. It went 70 yards. It took nearly 7 minutes, but Henry touched the ball a couple of times on that drive and wasn't doing much. I'm like, that's too bad. Derrick Henry used to be, such a power. Well, he did get into the end zone, and he did score the first touchdown of the game, and I hope you catch that, Fred. Did you take the prop?
No, I did not. But I took the other thing.
You and I stood to make a boatload, and we did not. More on that later. How long would it take Kansas City to answer? As it turns out, not very long.
And now the Chiefs will bring it on an end around to Xavier Worthy at the 20, 15 of the Ravens, 10, 5, touchdown! Kansas City rookie Xavier Worthy on a perfectly executed, well-blocked end around.
Well, that Baltimore guy was pretty excited.
5 plays, 67 yards, 2 minutes, 19 seconds for Kansas City to answer and make the score 7-7. Xavier Worthy. It's almost as if somebody told us about that yesterday, Fred. Do you remember that?
I do, because
there is a trend of Super Bowl winning teams winning their first.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ask you a question and then allow you to answer, but
I do.
Okay, here.
There is a trend of Super Bowl winning teams winning their first game after the Super Bowl, whether they get into trouble after that or not. It depends on the season you want to look at, how far you want to go back in the trend, whatever. Therefore, I am on the Chiefs. I think that they made some really good moves this offseason, but my biggest kind of favorite thing that they did was bring in Xavier Worthy. So I do have Xavier Worthy for an anytime touchdown tonight as well. So I get that I have a Super Bowl future on the Ravens. I love the Ravens this year. I don't think that Kansas City three-peats, but I do think that the Ravens are going to lose this game. But I have the Chiefs to cover, and I have an Xavier Worthy anytime touchdown. I would say if you're going to do anything, the Xavier Worthy anytime is plus 180 right now, so get in on it while you can.
Wow.
Yesterday morning.
There it is.
So Hardy and I both had that, and Kendra had said, and it seemed so, it's her rationale for it seemed good enough that I took Xavier Worthy to win Rookie of the Year.
Oh.
And so her rationale, she's like, he's got Patrick Mahomes thrown to him. He's the best receiver. So, why not? Are you going to automatically give it to a quarterback on a bad team? Like, Denver's not winning anything, so is it going to be Bo Nix? Like, AFC Rookie of the Year? Who else is rookie quarterback playing in the AFC? It's not going to be Drake May. So, who's it going to be? Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels are in the NFC.
What'd you get it at?
You want me to check it out?
Yeah, go ahead and check it out.
Give me a little time because I got to sign in.
While you do that, let's check in with Xavier. Actually, Isaiah Likely, as the score was at this point 22.
Isaiah?
Yeah.
Why'd you have to bring him up so early?
No, not Isaac. Isaiah. Isaiah.
Isaiah.
Isaiah Likely making his presence known early in the game.
Lamar to throw. Pocket collapsing. He's chased, running to the right, running out of room. Lobs it near sideline. Isaiah Likely has it at the 30. Sidesteps the tackler. He's at the 20. 15, 10, 5. Touchdown, Ravens. Isaiah Likely.
There we go. That made it 2017. But Kansas City was not done yet. Do you have what you got it at?
Plus 700.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm. Very good bet.
I like that.
There you go.
But it was Xavier Worthy's night, as Kendra Middleton predicted.
Now sprints in motion to the right flat. Mahomes will throw it right sideline, wide open, but the catch, Xavier Worthy, 10-5, touchdown, Kansas City. Xavier Worthy, the second time in the end zone in the first game of his career, a 35-yard strike.
The first one, I mean, they were both impressive, but the speed with which that guy moves on the field is in and of itself.
Yeah,
impressive.
and they had made a trade with Buffalo to swap first-round picks and some later-round picks, and they moved up and they got Xavier Worthy. And for those of us who took Mark Andrews as our tight end in fantasy football, so much for that. He is no longer their number one tight end, apparently.
Xavier Worthy, a combine record 4.21 in the 40-yard dash. So he is fast.
Yeah,
Very fast.
That's how tall Vern Troyer was.
Well, it looked like Isaiah Likely was going to send this game into overtime last night, as it appeared that Lamar Jackson, after scrambling, time running out on the clock, Kansas City up 27-20, found Likely at the very back of the end zone. In real time, he appeared to be out. Watching it on replay, wow, was that thing a lot closer than I originally thought. So there was a waiting game going on while both sides and both radio calls were waiting for the results of the officials.
We'll find out here. Here's referee Sean Hockley.
The runner's toe hit out of bounds. It's an incomplete pass. The game is over. Kansas City has won.
And in a game of inches, it comes down to 1 inch. 27-20, our final score.
And that was your final last night. A very subdued radio call from the Baltimore broadcast. What did Kansas City sound like?
This would end the game if they rule this an incompletion.
The runner's toe hit out of bounds. It's an incomplete pass. The game is over.
Sean Hockley, I never loved you more, brother. Incomplete. And
Jesus.
Kansas City
You got
wins
16
this game.
more.
All right.
Hey,
This guy just called 2 Super Bowl wins, right?
yeah, I know.
Theoretically.
And by the way, like you used to have Len Dawson all drunk in the booth, like, and I'm not making that up. The thing about Len Dawson is apparently you could hear the cubes rattling in the glass, and he very much like Cedric Maxwell would go in glad hand during the during the game. I mean,
during the game, yeah,
or whatever, he'd go around in glad hand, and then he would come back and he would just be like having cocktails in people's boxes.
I remember this because Len Dawson used to call Monday Night Football games nationally with Jack Buck. Those two guys did it forever, and I remember listening to Len Dawson when I was really young call these games. I knew he was drunk back then.
Yeah.
He was drunk on a national stage.
Well, Pat Summerall used to do the games drunk too, but he was just so good at it that it didn't matter. But Len Dawson was notorious for walking around. And I told you, the one morning in Indianapolis, the great Bubby Brister, who at the time he no longer does them because he said something controversial or something and got fired years ago. But he was the color commentator on the radio for the New Orleans Saints. And it was probably I actually behaved in Indianapolis. I wasn't that bad. Everything was so close it wasn't that bad. But I would go out during the Super Bowl and stuff. But it was probably about 7 in the morning, and Bubby Brister was in there, and I had heard about him before. And I swear to God, and this is rare, that if I put a lighter up to his mouth, it would have Gene Simmons down. He would have blown fire. It was fresh. It wasn't from the night before. Yeah, he was.
A little mouthwash.
Yeah. If he had mouthwash, he was swallowing it. So, yeah, Bubby Brister and Len Dawson. Long are the days of Len Dawson smoking cigarettes and drinking Pepsis in the locker room at the Super Bowl halftime. You've seen that famous photo.
I have.
Of course.
Yeah. He looked cool.
Sean Hockley, I've never loved you more, brother.
This guy.
Brother.
Brother.
I've never loved you more, brother. All these guys love wrestling. They all do it. Kelsey, too. Everyone in Kansas City is turned into a Kelsey clone.
But as exciting as it was to watch Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson and Xavier Worthy, it was not very exciting due to the way a certain element to the game was being paid attention to, especially early on last night. So when we continue, Fred, we'll get into that a little bit more and see what one coach in particular had to say about penalties that were being called early and often.
All right, so we will find out all about that in just a moment. Here are the headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots begin their season Sunday in Cincinnati. They were once again without starting offensive lineman Sidney So at practice yesterday. Verdarian Lowe, Josh Uche, and Antonio Gibson were listed as limited. Jamar Chase out there again for Cincinnati. He was listed as limited as well. ESPN is reporting the Patriots are also bracing for the news that Christian Barmore will miss the entire upcoming season after being diagnosed with blood clots. As we were just talking about on NFL opening night, Kansas City held off Baltimore 27-20, and the Red Sox had last night off. They play the Chicago White Sox at Fenway Park tonight. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Awaken 180. This September, make losing weight part of your new routine. Energy, clarity, better health. Find it all at awaken180weightloss.com. I'm John Wallach at Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7 o'clock.
You're listening to Touch. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook, making every moment more with FanDuel. The NFL season kicked off yesterday. You know who's very nice in his post-game press conferences? Patrick Mahomes. He's joking around. He's being very honest. He seems like a good fella. Someone you could easily rope into a marriage too young.
All the chaos in that man's life, it is a miracle that he is normal. Seriously.
It's just every time I see Trevor Lawrence or Patrick Mahomes get married that young, I'm just like, you moron. Like, why don't you just stay dating them if you love them, and then just because you're not gonna stay married. You're just not going to. It's impossible. You're too rich and famous. It's gonna become a burden, an albatross.
Well, he was joking around, like you said, Fred, in his post game. He really is affable, is the best way to describe him. And talking about his opponent there, Isaiah Likely, one of his opponents there, and that final play and how it went down.
Definitely nerve-wracking. Because it looked good from my angle on the sideline, but then the first view you could see the cleat. So that's a great football team, and I'm sure we'll see him again at some point in the playoffs. So now we're happy with the win now.
I know the joke.
He's got to wear white cleats next time. That's my advice for him.
On the way in, I heard the whole press conference. Oh, I couldn't have been more excited. But I was interested that he's very affable. I mean, like, he is, he's, for as much as he's won, and some people consider him the best quarterback they've ever seen. I mean, he seems like a very nice guy. He's like the anti-Kelsey.
Yeah,
we'll get into his scam coming up.
Yes, we will. The white cleats used to be considered a bit of a hero hardo move. If you go back to Reno Hightower when he was quarterback in the Taft Rockets, he came into the game in the second half wearing his white cleats, and that was like a big thing. Yes. Like, people couldn't believe it.
Oh, my God, he's wearing them.
And he's wearing his white shoes.
Yeah.
When they were playing, the name of that movie?
Well, when they were playing Bakersfield. Right. It's a documentary. It's called The Best of Times.
Best of Times, that's right.
Yes.
Robin Williams, wide receiver.
Oh, that movie was on cable constantly. Wow, was that depressing.
Yep.
That's the most depressing movie ever.
That's right.
Robin Williams needed to be institutionalized in that film. The whole thing is like there's...
Why? Because he visits a prostitute on a regular basis?
I don't remember that part, but I just remember as being a kid going, like, this guy sucks. Why? Like, is he supposed to seem relatable?
No, I think Kurt Russell's character, Reno Hightower, is supposed to be a little more relatable.
We were all the big star in high school?
No, but, he's kind of like, let it go. That was yesterday. Forget about it.
I just remember that and Mommy Dearest always bothering me.
What's so troubling about Mommy Dearest?
Oh, the abuse. The abuse to the daughter. No more wire coat hangers.
That speaks to our age, because that movie gets quoted in our house probably once a week, and it's generally, oh, but not now.
Oh.
Yeah, that's when what's the daughter's name? Christina is doing her monologue there. She's away at boarding school.
Oh.
There'll be time enough when you're older. Oh, but not now.
You know what she was? Top student.
Let's get back to the
Let's
game.
Get back, Finger Man. Get back, top student.
Snap your neck. Lamar Jackson, also affable, talking about what this loss means for not just him and the team, but what a win would have meant. He covers a lot of ground in this post game.
I believe everyone in our locker room hate losing. Point blank, period. Coaches, trainers.
Whoa. Slow down. You're gonna get canceled. You're letting out all the secrets. You guys don't like losing?
No, everybody hated losing. Everybody in the locker room.
Everyone. Yeah, all right.
But it's not just the locker room, Fred.
I believe everyone in our locker room hate losing. Point blank, period. Coaches, trainers, equipment guys, cafeteria, women and men, and definitely the players, because we out there putting it on the line, blood, sweat, and tears. And for us to lose to those guys.
Plus 110s.
Cafeteria women and men.
Amen.
That's right. He doesn't want to. He didn't want to get canceled.
Well, you
He
know,
knows.
Jeremy in the cafeteria was going to be like, "You son of a bitch."
Cafeteria women and men.
Oh, wow. It's all about Nancy and Grace and not Jeremy, huh? You prick.
Equipment guys.
I'm going to dip my balls in the mashed potatoes the next time you're in there.
Cafeteria women and men. And definitely the players, because we out there putting it on the line, blood, sweat, and tears. And for us to lose to those guys and the way we lost, I can't be mad at my guys because they battled.
Yeah, I mean, does that change your opinion on Baltimore at all? The idea that they lost by 7 and had a chance to tie at the end of the game against Kansas City in Kansas City?
I got to tell you, and for like an opening night football game for a league that just couldn't hype itself more and does everything, to essentially set you up for a letdown. That one didn't disappoint. At least at the end of the game.
Well, yeah.
The beginning of the game.
There were some problems.
Oh, my God. Okay, so this is something that the league has focused in on. When they do the sit-downs with coaches, they talk with players, they go to training camps, and they say, hey, we're going to be looking at this illegal formation on the offensive line a lot this year. And it was...
Thank God.
It was, right? Because the competition committee said, hey, you get these guards and these tackles doing a little half step back off the line, that creates an unfair advantage for pass rushers, and we don't want that anymore. And Jim Harbaugh's team got called on this one a lot. What did he say about it after the game?
Yeah, they put a thing out that they said they were going to call that differently. I think understanding how differently, we were the first offensive series of the season with that, and I think they saw probably everybody watching it. It'd be interesting to see if they call it the same way the whole season. And I'll challenge them to call it the same way they called it tonight the whole season. So hopefully they'll be consistent about that.
Challenge accepted. I can do it.
How many penalties were called on that Wallach last night?
Oh God, I saw 4 alone, and I thought the Patriots were bad.
The first time and they were good to point this out on the broadcast. Tirico and Collinsworth, they said, they got a warning, so that's the first time they could have called it. They called it 3 more times in the opening 2 drives.
Yeah, I thought Chukwuekorfor was bad. It turns out he's just normal.
Yeah, that's going to be a real slog, I guess, the first week of the season.
And then there were a couple of times where Kansas City's offensive line took a half step back before the ball was snapped, and they missed it.
Well, but those are more like false starts. That's like that's the Trent Brown. You just a false start on every single snap.
If you're looking at the offensive line, you're looking at the offensive line. How do you miss that? You're looking at bad formations.
But you don't even have to get the false start. It's the formation. I think they were lined up essentially the same the same way Baltimore was. I don't know why Kansas City wasn't being called for it. And just so I don't know why Baltimore's getting called for it, other than we are calling this differently this year. It's something you watch football and you see the guys lined up. It's like, okay, you're kind of staggered. You're staggered just a little bit off the line.
Well, it was
to
the
protect
playoff
your
game.
Quarterback.
It was the Chiefs playoff game, right? Who was the team in the playoffs that was lining up? They kept calling it. The guy was lining up in the backfield. It was an issue in the playoffs. There was a certain team, I can't remember which one. It doesn't really matter. Where it was an issue in the playoffs. And remember Zolak was going crazy on Twitter about it? He's lining up into the backfield. And it was a team it seemed like we all wanted to lose. That's all I know. But, yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, during the playoffs, there was a team that was doing it, and everyone called it out, and that's why I think the league is stepping in now. That's my opinion.
But
you mentioned San Francisco. What are you going to go there, John? Are you going there?
Not going to San Francisco. No.
Get yourself a hat.
There's nothing wrong with that. If I happen to go, I will get myself a hat. A San Francisco Giants hat.
Oh, that's what you would get if you were there?
I got one the last time I was out there.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yep. Unlike the
Kraken?
No, the frickin' hat that he bought on the boardwalk in Jersey.
Fresno State.
The Fresno State hat that he bought in New Jersey.
Yeah.
Which one of the MAGA hats was that? I mean, he's got like 17 MAGA hats. He wears a different one in every day.
Well, depending on what the call to action is that day.
Yeah.
Do you come armed with talking points on like 3x5 cards when you leave the house?
Yep.
In case you get into an argument with a lib, here's what you say.
You have to cover all possibilities because you never know when you're going to bump into a left winger. You never know.
Yeah.
Especially when you go through Brookline. I mean, I have separate note cards for that.
Yeah.
That's why sometimes you got to seek them out. You got to be proactive, like that guy at the garden center that I saw. I'm like, oh, it's a great dog he got there. What's his name? Tucker, because he sniffs out liberals and pees on their leg. Like, oh boy, you're fun. You're fun.
You didn't.
He does well.
I said that. Hand to God.
You didn't. There's no one existed.
You see a dog, you're like, oh, what a great dog, and I want to talk to your dog. Yeah, he hates liberals. He's gonna pee on your leg.
Oh, then
you are. His name's Tucker. Get it? I get it.
Then I want to raise taxes. Come on, doggy. I want to raise taxes. Oh, hey, women's rights. Come on, Fido.
He's not very well trained, sir.
He's not very well trained. I'm telling him I'm very liberal. Let them all in, the immigrants. Come on. Make with the urine, Spike. Your dog's not doing it. You'll have to fill in, sir.
Is that an anthem I hear? I'm getting ready to kneel. I hope he doesn't pee further up on my body.
Ooh, I'm burning a flag. Look. Come here and put it out with your urine. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. The great Bert Breer is in never any hurry to get here on time. But should be here soon. We'll be back in just a moment.
Toucher and Hardy, 98.
than 48 hours and counting until the Patriots open up their regular season in Cincinnati, and it's looking more and more like they'll be without starting offensive lineman Sidy Sow. He missed practice for a second straight day yesterday. Another starter, left tackle Verdarian Lowe, was limited again, along with Josh Uche, and a new addition to the injury report, running back Antonio Gibson. As for the Bengals, wideout Jamar Chase on the field again yesterday, and he was listed as limited as well. ESPN reported yesterday the Patriots are bracing for the news that Christian Barmore will indeed miss the entire upcoming season. He was diagnosed with blood clots last month. Kansas City beat Baltimore 27-20 on NFL's opening night. Rookie wideout Xavier Worthy had a touchdown catch and a TD run in his first ever game. And then Ravens tight end and former Everett High School star Isaiah Likely ruled out of bounds on the last play of the game. That took a potential game-tying touchdown catch away. Lamar Jackson and the entire Ravens organization are not happy.
I believe everyone in our locker room hate losing. Point blank, period. Coaches, trainers, equipment guys, cafeteria, women and men, and definitely the players, because we out there putting it on the line, blood, sweat, and tears. And for us to lose to those guys and the way we lost, I can't be mad at my guys because they battled.
In Brazil tonight, it'll be Green Bay against Philadelphia. Red Sox have a little over 3 weeks left in their season. They play the White Sox at Fenway Park tonight. And at the U.S. Open tennis tournament, American Jessie Pegula won to reach the women's final. She'll play the 2-seed Aryna Sabalenka tomorrow. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by the versatile Honda CR-V. Head to your local New England Honda dealers to learn more and see their line of Honda vehicles. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 7:30.
No matter where you go, you're always connected to Boston.
We're playing Tom Goss. I like that. Hello. I mean, you're telling me this wasn't playing at Machine at all hours? There's some bears got the best of me. Bears on my fantasy. Bears ain't what I like. Yeah, Tom Goss is coming in. He says I'm going to be in town, and I'm like, I'm not positive you live on the air is going to do much.
Hey. Yeah, you. Oh, you a shy one, aren't you? And so cute.
All right. That's Nerdy Bear.
Some people think they got it right.
No, we're not doing the acoustic version. We're not going to do that.
Well, that's just the beginning of Bears. That's just him. That's him getting into the dance portion of the.
We got to have him in though. He did the special version for us.
Red and Hardy.
That's specifically
classic.
why I don't think he's going to be good on the air. Incredible lack of effort he put into that. All right, so Bird Prier is here from the MMQB. He showed up. He got here in time, and that's all that matters.
Yep, doesn't matter what the clock says. I got here before the end of the break.
Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
so I mean, really it doesn't matter. It wasn't like that we had anything that we wanted to talk to him before he came on the air, so he's here. All right, last night, the NFL season started.
Yep.
The outcome of that game, Kansas City covering at home, does that change your opinion on? A lot of people picked the Ravens to go to the Super Bowl, Kansas City to go to the Super Bowl. Those seems to be the two hot picks. What do you thought?
I think neither of those teams are what they're going to be a month from now. Quite honestly, I think we saw glimpses of it with Kansas City. One of the things that I just talking to Chiefs people over the last 5 or 6 weeks is they were really excited about what their offense was going to look like, which I think you saw glimpses of it last night, right? I think we see what Rashee Rice can be, and we'll see what happens with his criminal case and everything else. But for right now, like, you're seeing him take another step.
Wait, what is the charge against him? Because there's
another
quite
one
a
of these
few in the air.
street racing.
Remember the video of him walking away from that massive car crash?
The one in Texas.
I don't know
in
what
Texas
it is.
he'll get away with it.
I don't know what it is. I mean, you see it at the University of Georgia, obviously a ton, but the street racing that like problems that football players have, I don't get. Like,
did they have that when you were a kid?
What, the
street racing?
Well, I mean, you heard about it, but it was like so many guys have gotten in trouble now that it's like, how does it keep happening?
M59. Were you familiar with that, Hardy? M59.
That was a racetrack.
It wasn't, but
in Michigan.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, it was a
strip
patch of road.
Yeah.
Like, but it was.
That was like it was like a country, like a rural road where like
once you got out of Oxford, yeah,
a little bit. It was the Sterling Heights area, right? Like a little past Sterling Heights. Okay, Brenner. But it was a real road.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like in like a farm. Like it was like a real road, M59, Michigan 59. And it was a lot different than now, different cars. But these like Heschers would like race for papers, and they would soup up their, muscle cars and go out there and really power through. I like that it's coming back to that. I wonder if they have Def Leppard Coke mirrors too. I wonder if they're if they have a keg in the back where they put the tube around so they can drink out of it.
So do you follow what happened at Georgia at all with all of this? Yeah. I mean, and it's like someone died a year and a half ago, and Jalen Carter, was like tangentially involved with that. And then it keeps happening at Georgia, and I and Rashee Rice is another case where, there was an assault charge that happened after the street racing thing. And there's just sort of like this knucklehead thing with him where there were signs of it when he was in college, which is part of the file that every team had on him. And the Chiefs, like a lot like the Patriots used to operate, have taken a lot of these risks. You know what I mean? Like they've taken on, and we've seen it, over the course of the last few years, where when you have that sort of quarterback and that sort of coach and that sort of program, you can absorb risk. I mean, the year the Patriots took on Albert Hainsworth and Chad Ochocinco, both those, like, they got nothing out of those two, and they still went to the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. So that's sort of what the Chiefs are. You know what I mean? Like, where the Chiefs can take these sorts of risks, but we can see what Rice can be. And really, like, the idea was, and to kind of take this back to the whole concept of, and it's not like this, the Patriots invented this, but in 2007, what New England was, with Moss over the top, and then Welker running wide open in these huge spaces underneath that were created by teams giving attention to Moss deep. That's sort of the concept of what the Chiefs want to become. And we got to see pieces of it with Xavier Worthy last night. When they have Hollywood Brown, who dislocated his shoulder, who will be back in about a month, we're going to see the full scope of it, which is they feel like they're going to be a lot better offensively this year than they have been the last couple of years, which is crazy because they won back-to-back Super Bowls. When they have all of that, the Ravens are replacing 3 offensive linemen. And I think we saw that last night.
Yeah.
Did you guys think Derrick Henry didn't look the same?
Well, he didn't look the same on the opening drive, and I was happy to see him get in the touchdown just because, if you've got guys that you're going to, watch, and I wouldn't call him, appointment viewing anymore, but still, there's someone I'm interested in watching. I don't want to see him stuck at the line for a loss.
Yeah.
So I was happy to see it. But no, like a lot of running backs, a couple of years after, they...
And the amount mileage, like how...
Well, they shocked the world, and then you're like, it's hard to believe that this guy was, like one of the most lethal offensive weapons in the conference just, 3 years ago?
I mean, we'll see what happens with him. And then, they lost 60% of their offensive line from the AFC title game. So Morgan Moses is with the Jets, John Simpson's with the Jets, and Kevin Zeitler's with the Lions. So that's a lot to replace in an important area where communication's key, and they're replacing those 3 guys.
No, one's with the Giants, right?
No, 2 of them with the Jets, one of them with the Lions.
Kansas
Simpson,
City has a guy in the Giants now?
No,
offensive lineman?
No, the Ravens.
No. But I thought someone had gone to
the Giants. The Giants pursued So the Giants wound up with one of the Packers' offensive linemen.
Oh, that's okay. Tonight's game. I'm sorry. I thought I'd heard that. I apologize. Go ahead. I was trying to sound smart.
Yeah. But that's a lot to replace. So I don't think the Ravens are basically banking on their ability to develop talent. There are 3 starting offensive linemen. One of them is a rookie. Another one's second year. Another one's third year. All 3 guys are starters for the first time. So I think you could expect that might not look quite right, and it didn't. So I think both those teams will be there at the end, but I don't think we got a full view of what either of those teams is going to be.
As long as the Ravens don't lean on Derrick Henry for a lot. I mean, there is, and you know this, Bert, there's an expiration date on running backs. And
I think the other kid looked pretty good. I think Justice Hill looks
he looks okay, but I mean, Derrick Henry is at that expiration date, and he has more mileage on him than most, and it started back in high school and went through college. Man, that guy's taken a lot of hits over his life.
Yep.
You know what was interesting? Out of the running backs changing places, and I might be on an island here, I didn't think much. I'm with you guys. Derrick Henry's taking a lot of hits. He's all of that.
This is his 9th year, I think.
Yeah, so, it's time. But what do you think of Saquon Barkley on Philadelphia? Could that be?
And that's going to be really interesting.
Yes,
because he has injury mileage.
Mm-hmm.
He's now going into year 7, right? So he's not young either.
But
they're not going to lean on him because they've got a lot of other pieces on that offense, right?
Yeah, they have 3 stud receivers.
I mean, yeah, they have Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Jahan Dotson coming in as their number 3 and Dallas Goedert at tight end. So, and then they have Jalen Hurts, which I think in both the case of Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, one thing that I think helps them a little bit is that the quarterback's a run threat. So that should open up things for those guys in the run game where those guys might have to do a little bit less.
It almost seems like Saquon Barkley, because of the injuries, and it might be counterintuitive, just doesn't have the amount of carries.
Exactly.
And that's right.
That was my point. He missed an entire year one year, and that's got to help him as he moves into his late 20s.
Right, but injuries are cumulative too, which so you're talking about one bucket and the other bucket and how that all matches up.
Sure.
So watching last night and watching the offensive lines, you can assume or you can predict that Baltimore can continue to get away with a lot of this stuff because of who they have at quarterback. Kind of reminds me of the conversations we've had about the Patriots over the years. What are they going to do on the line? Well, with this quarterback, maybe you don't have to do as much because to me that seems to be a fool's errand because ideally – with Lamar Jackson is if he's not forced to run for his life every other play, that's going to be better for him long term. It's going to be better for the team's success. And while he, bailed them out time and time again, of course, he was their leading rusher again last night. That's not something that A, you would plan for, or B, think you can get away with for very long.
It's just hard because again, and I think this is one thing we talked about this with the Patriots, right? Well, why couldn't they just go why couldn't they just go buy an offense? There aren't enough of them.
Yeah.
And when you have good ones, you hang on to them. Look at what the Ravens did. The Ravens, I mean, they lost 60% of their line, but they still have their left tackle and center, right? So they still have a high-end left tackle in Ronnie Stanley, who's not what he used to be, but still a lot of experience in the league, and Linderbaum at center, who's one of the best centers in football. And they're relying on, we've developed these other guys for 2 or 3 years. We do have the rookie right tackle, so we're projecting a little bit there. But their gamble is, this is going to look a lot different in week 10 than it looks in week 1. And, I think with Lamar, part of it is the reality of, once you pay your quarterback, it's going to look a little bit different around him, And so, now that he's, into his second contract, you're going to have more guys on rookie contracts playing. That's where they have to rely on Zay Flowers. They have to rely on Isaiah Likely. That's
financially, it's the exact opposite of what you would wish for. Now we have this high-paid quarterback. We got to protect him. We can't afford to protect him, not to the level that
4 starting linemen on rookie contracts, right? Their top 2 skilled players on rookie contracts, Zay Flowers and Isaiah Likely. And then they spend most of their money on defense, right? That's sort of what it is. That's the model the Patriots used forever, which was we'll spend on defense, we'll spend on some offensive linemen, and then, Tom, you got to kind of make up for the rest.
All right, there's a lot to talk about with Bert today, so I want to go to break. He came in at a very opportune time yesterday to tell us that he was going to stick with the Felger. And but there is something going, and let him explain it. There's something going on between him and Felger where Bert.
No, we're good. We're good.
No. I know. I'm not saying that you're in a fight. I'm saying that there's something going on. And then also I want to talk about what a junk that Commanders organization is just junk no matter who owns it. They fired the guy that it got taped by the lady from Hinge. I want your opinion on that. In the league, that really bothers me. Pisses me off. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy.
But this isn't the real version of it, right? This sounds like a.
Sounds like the Cinemax version of it.
This is Phil Collins.
I just Zoed everybody. Zoe starts singing the wrong
This
song.
sounds like the bootleg Cinemax version that you would
like
hear at 11 o'clock on a Friday night in 1985.
Yeah, I know. Friday After Dark. I mean, Young Lady Chatterley. Black Emmanuel.
Emmanuel from space.
Emmanuel was always
Or in
like a
space.
woman I found unattractive.
That was the fifth one, I think.
You know who is married to Young Lady Chatterley is
Corbin Burnson.
No, have you seen him though recently, Corbin Burnson?
Does he look good?
He just looks a lot different. He
I
looks
gotta take
like
a look.
super old. There's a picture of him and Charlie Sheen because, like, you know, they were in Major League together.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you have to find the specific photo of him and Charlie Sheen. He's got a big gray beard. It's like,
oh yeah,
that always works. Yeah,
it works on some dudes. Like some dudes, like when they're like all like fashionable and stuff. Like it looks like, yeah. See, doesn't he look? He doesn't look like Corbin Burns.
Doesn't look like Doran anymore. Definitely.
No, but the guy from Homicide: Life on the Street, Richard Belzer, was married to a young lady, Chatterley.
Oh.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well,
Enough with that old lady.
Belzer, who does an hysterical stand-up routine in Scarface. I mean, the jokes that he's telling up there on stage, as I remember in the club, in the nightclub.
Yeah. Oh, I always finish after the scene in the shower when he chops the guy up. That's when I'm like, I don't need this anymore. I'm done.
Now I just got like a million memories from Major League running through my head, and the one with Doran is always the one where what Lou Brown does to his contract in spring training.
Yeah.
You know that?
Yeah,
I know I
yeah.
can't say it on the air because it's an act.
Oh, he
I
wipes
think.
his
No,
behind with it. No,
he puts it on the ground and
and then urinates on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll tell you this is that there was a part of that movie that always bothered me, and I always thought it was really bad. Is when the catcher, I forget the actor's name, he
Tom Berenger.
Tom Berenger, and they're like, whose character I did not care for in that movie. I found him to be really annoying when he's walking, and they're like, "What are we gonna do about the
Serrano and the last chicken?"
Yeah. Yeah, and he goes, "I'll think of something."
Yeah, that's right.
Like, and it's like, "Oh, will you?
Yeah.
Shut up."
One whole chicken, just like you said.
You stink. All right. Anyway,
He had bad knees, Fred. Why don't you show a little empathy?
They found him in the Mexican League. His career was over.
Right.
Joe Boo needs a refill.
Well, that's Eddie Harris. That's different.
Yeah.
yeah, Eddie Harris looked like a ball player. I'll tell you this.
With the Crisco on his chest. Yeah.
Yes, we've all seen it. Come on, Bert. How dare you? We have big things to get to. Now, Bert came in all hot yesterday. He said that he was going to give it to Felger. Do I play the Felger thing first, or I
think so.
All right. So, what are we playing here, Jim? You come on microphone. What are we playing here?
This is from Felger and Maz on Tuesday when Greg Bedard was in.
Oh, okay.
About,
This is
Bert's reporting.
All right. Very good. Here we go.
Guaranteed money. Bert said there, for all intents and purposes, guaranteed money carries 3 years. That's wrong, Bert, and you know it. That's a fuzzy comment. You're fudging a little something there, Bert. It doesn't go into the third year, and this Ayuk's contract doesn't go into the third year with San Francisco. Somewhere in those details of what's fully guaranteed for injury, what's fully guaranteed for performance, what's an option bonus, and when's it due? How much did you get at signing? When do the guarantees run out? There's all sorts of crap in there. I don't believe the Patriots were matched that on all those little details, and I am sorry if that makes me an a-hole. I don't trust them.
Okay. I can see why you're so upset. I mean, he's speaking for the fan there.
Man of the people.
Oh, God. I mean, how many of us were like, let's really 8 weeks later break down this Ayuk situation?
So just so I can wrap my own head around it.
Yeah, I need you to do this because I don't really know what's going on.
Felger is upset, let's just say personally, at any reporting that says the Patriots had a competitive offer.
Or the high offer, yeah.
Without anything to back it up.
I'll give you guys like even the background of why this even came up, which was because I led my Monday column with it. I was doing Sports Sunday with Curran and the people at NBC, and we were going through topics. I'm like, well, if you guys are interested at all, I have all the offers from the Ayuk situation.
Which is interesting, yeah.
I'm like, so I can give you like what where New England was relative to the other teams on Ayuk. And so, yeah, like, let's do that as part of, Sports Sunday. So I said, I went through what they offered. And, I mean, like full disclosure, I did twist the knife a little bit when I said in there, the guys from 2 to 6 won't believe this, but the Patriots won on the money in every single way.
Right. So
that was the catalyst for Felger's rant the next day.
Okay. So
I started it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, I know, but I don't understand.
Accusing you of being an irrational person.
No, I just don't. Yeah, you said okay.
Are you saying that comment alone would not have started a fight with you, Fred?
No, I'm saying that I didn't really care about the Ayuk thing. They suck, and they suck without Ayuk too. Like I don't.
And they would suck if Ayuk was here.
Yes, yeah, they would suck if Ayuk was here. They'd just be giving Ayuk money, and then that's fine. I mean, Ayuk would conceivably be still good during at the end of the rebuild, so it wouldn't. But do any fans really care that much about Ayuk? I understand why you did it because you got the reporting. So anyway, he calls you out, which is the new thing. He called out Reese. He calls you out, and then you came in yesterday, and I obviously was preoccupied. What did you come in here and say?
No, I mean I came in and I basically explained when I was on the air. You're saying, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I came in and I basically explained. Normally I wouldn't. I had pretty deep reporting, and it wasn't just the page. I talked to everybody on this one, right? So I had Cleveland's offer, I had Pittsburgh's offer, I had San Francisco's point of view, I had the fact that Ayuk never wanted to leave San Francisco, I had why Pittsburgh was the stalking horse for Ayuk when they were negotiating with San Francisco, and why New England and Cleveland ended up out of it. So I had the full scope of the situation. But the one thing that Felger and Maz hung on to was, well, you don't have the guaranteed number. That's all we care about was the guaranteed number. So I'm like, okay, I'll go get the guaranteed number. And the number was, I found out after talking to a couple of people yesterday morning before I came in on my way in. I made a few calls, and the number was well over $80 million guaranteed. And then I used the term virtually guaranteed, which is what Felger's referring to there. The way the guarantee works on Ayuk's deal in San Francisco, and hopefully people's eyes don't glaze over when I'm explaining this, $45 million guaranteed at signing. The other $31 million becomes fully guaranteed in April, right? So, yes, that 31 isn't fully guaranteed now. It's only guaranteed for injury now. However, all of that money is in 2020. Most of that money is owed in 2026.
Mm-hmm.
So essentially, for them to cut Brandon Ayuk in April, they would have to give him $45 million for the single year. And it can't be for injury. It can't be because of an injury that they would cut him, because the money's guaranteed for injury.
Okay.
So more or less, he's going to see all of that money.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way a lot of the guarantees are structured now, because of the funding rule and the escrow situation that the NFL should never, that shouldn't be an issue anymore, but it is for teams. And so the Patriots guarantee number was better than what any other team was offering. If it was about the money, then he'd be a Patriot.
Okay, so that's interesting to know. I got two questions. A, is it common that teams will give you this in-depth amount of information?
I can figure it out if I need it.
Okay.
I mean, in a situation like this, like when I'm comparing it, like I don't need to get, like when I'm comparing what 5 different teams are offering, my job's a little different, like than a beat writer, right? Like I'm covering I'm covering all 32. So
right.
I'm trying to give people the global view of the whole situation and what factored into it and what Ayuk was looking at, what the teams were looking at. And yeah, I mean, if you're not covering just one team singular situation, then you're not going to get that granular. And the team that I did get granular with in that situation is always going to be the team he winds up with.
Sure.
So the team that I was actually dug in the most on was what San Francisco was doing in that situation.
I think my question is this, is it like when you go to your source of the Patriots, wherever it is, and you say, like, I want, like, can you specifically tell me what you offered? Is it?
Well, I don't just go to one side of it either, but
yeah, I'm not okay in whatever. Yeah, okay, fair enough. In whatever way you do it, is it odd that someone would go, no, dude, this is what we did. This is like everything that we did, or were the sides more apt to tell you?
I can figure it out. I mean, sometimes it takes some time passing for that to happen. A lot of times teams will care less about giving you the information after the fact, right? Like, which is why, a lot of times I can write these stories that are basically autopsies on whatever the situation is, because the information becomes less sensitive.
Right.
Now, sometimes it might be hard to get because, well, a team doesn't want other players on their roster to know what they were offering some guy who's not on the team.
Yeah.
In other words, like for Cleveland, it was real. The numbers were sensitive because of what they just did with Amari Cooper.
Right.
Right. So they just gave Amari Cooper a raise. Well, how do you think Amari Cooper is going to feel if he sees they were offering Ayuk all this, so much more money than Cooper was able to get?
And isn't that in a way sort of what's going on with Jamar Chase in Cincinnati? Is that all the players on that team are like kind of want Chase to get the new deal? They'd rather get him the new deal than play right away because they want that precedent set.
Yeah,
with the 2 years remaining on his contract.
And they did it with Burrow last year, so they opened the door for it.
Right.
And you can always say, well, it's different because it's a quarterback. Well, it's sort of the same way Jamar Chase looked at his buddy Justin Jefferson, who, he knew everything that was happening in the Jefferson situation because those two are super close, played together at LSU and all of that. And so in that situation, Jamar Chase was never doing a deal with Cincinnati before Justin Jefferson got his deal in Minnesota because he knew that would raise the bar.
Mm-hmm.
So then Justin Jefferson raised the bar 25% over where the rest of the receivers in the league were. And, at that point, it's okay, well, that's an outlier, is where the Bengals were, which is why it got so quiet. And then CeeDee Lamb does his deal, and now all of a sudden it's not such an outlier anymore. The Bengals are more willing to do a deal, which I think is the reason why there's a chance the deal gets done over the next 36 hours or so.
And Amon St. Brown is in that area a little bit.
If you look at the gap, though, like the real money,
I'm looking at John, yeah.
They're all like in that 26, 27, $28 million range. Devontae Smith, Nico Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jalen Waddle, like the young receivers that signed new deals this offseason. The real money, they're right in that range where like Justin Jefferson's at like a legit 35. That was the gap there that was like made it more difficult. And once Lamb got 34, Lamb got like basically a bootleg version of Jefferson's. It was like right there. You know what I mean? In like almost every way. It just wasn't quite as much. But once Lamb gets that deal, now the Bengals, they don't have a leg to stand on anymore. Like Jamar's definitely as good a player as CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah. And it's interesting that maybe the Lions did a good thing, like locking up all those dudes when they did right away. Well, listen, and so Felger was yelling about the Ayuk situation this week. He was upset about it. He was very upset.
Yeah.
And the idea was that the Patriots don't spend enough money.
Yeah. Which I think is a fair criticism. Like, honestly, like I think there's a fair criticism.
Well, cash spending, yes. I mean, that is a legitimate critique, and that's factual.
It just didn't apply in this particular.
But that's real quick. That's really bad news, and Bertrand touched on it with you. It's a easy fix if you're not spending money to spend money. It's a much tougher fix if you are willing to spend money and no one wants to come.
Yeah, so
it's never going to be as bad as this year, probably. Though, go ahead.
But you need some, like what the Patriots need now is some proof of concept. They have no proof of concept.
Right.
Like, and I think the Diggs situation, when Diggs went to Buffalo, I think that's the one you want to look at because Josh Allen wasn't Josh Allen yet when Diggs got traded there. It was after Josh Allen's second year. So he had played in 18. They weren't very good. And then in 19, they made the playoffs, right? Stephon Diggs was willing to go to Buffalo on an existing contract, right? So it's not like he's going to Miami or Dallas or Los Angeles. He was willing to go to Buffalo on an existing contract because he looked at Josh Allen and said, that guy is going to make me a better player. So they need some proof of concept, and that's going to happen through A, winning, and B, the quarterback showing he can play. And once that happens, if that happens, then the dynamic can swing back, but not until then.
They better hope May hits soon. Otherwise, it's not just
Because
this
that's
year.
the
It's going to
thing.
be a long time.
I mean, that's the thing. Think about that. Diggs went to Buffalo on an existing contract.
No, I understand what
and
you're saying.
played
But
on that existing
you have to hope May does well. Other people around the league look at that. I mean, how long before May plays well? That's what we're waiting.
I actually applaud the effort to go and get Ayuk because at some point you're going to want to do that. At some point you're going to want to go in and bring in a legitimate number one, especially while he's still on his rookie contract, right? But you can't control when that guy's going to become available. You don't know who's going to be available over the next 2 or 3 years. So I actually applaud the fact that they were aggressive in this situation.
Sure, because he's young enough to when the rebuild is cooking to have him
still there,
and still in his prime. Yeah, he's one of those outliers. Like he's a kid that is getting his second contract that's elite that you could bring in now that usually isn't available because CeeDee Lamb, Amon St. Brown, Justin Jefferson, those guys are all re-signed with their current teams. All right, I do want to get to just something that personally pissed me off, and it's not even so much if you know what the guy said because that's kind of beside the point. We can fill you in quick, but the Commanders, they can't get out of their own way. They're really just a junk organization, in my opinion. We'll be back in just a moment. Now, this is more like a 1980s Rocky IV type robot moving around. Like a montage of them in Real Genius, making something. Or perhaps a seduction scene at the college.
It feels more like, a seduction or maybe a grooming scene taking place. Kind of
My
like
tutor?
Yeah, kind of like a low-level seduction. You don't know you're being seduced.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When Kita Natividad,
Yeah.
he falls asleep on her pendulating breasts. Did you remember that, John?
I do. Yes,
She
what
was
was the
also
line
in-
before here? Climb
Climb the mountain.
the mountains. That's right.
Yeah. And meantime, Crispin Glover is on a wheel getting spun around. He didn't like that. Yeah. He didn't get what he paid for. All right. So we went over this. This is and I'll ask you this. How big for a NFL team is the VP of content labels?
I mean, the content jobs have gotten bigger.
Right.
And a vice president title generally isn't easy to come. NFL teams have a lot of vice presidents.
So it's someone who's successful in an organization, but they're not in charge of the organization.
Right. Right.
So,
I mean, but they have a staff that they're overseeing.
Okay. But so do a lot of people.
Right.
A lot of people have jobs with staffs.
Yeah.
And a lot of people work under the umbrella of a big corporation.
Yep.
And have jobs with staffs. And, most people nowadays work for corporations.
Yep.
All right. So this fella, this VP of content labels for the Commanders, he meets a girl on Hinge, and he says, ooh, this is nice. Let's go
Which
on a
one's
date.
Hinge? Hinge is the one that the girls control. Is that right? Isn't there one? No, that's Bumble.
Yeah, Bumble. I don't care for Bumble, but
Bumble's the one that the girls control, right? So, like, I've heard that they're higher end.
No, Hinge is higher end.
Okay.
And then you get the League and Raya. I mean, those are.
Well, there was the one you explained to me that where it's like you have to be like it's like a club almost.
Yeah. It's
It's
exclusive.
Got to get inside the velvet rope.
Oh, baby. And then you give them a lot of money. It's a lot of fun. All right, so here is what the guy had to say. This is the woman taping him not knowing she's filming him. It may help if I turn it on.
Your description of the Commanders players.
Over 50% of our roster, right, is either white religious and God says the gays. Another big chunk is very low-income African-American that comes from a community that is inherently very homophobic.
Would you say most people who work at the NFL, with you as the exception of your former boss, would you say that they're just not very smart?
There's just obviously a spectrum, but I've met some very smart.
What about, like, the players?
There's some that are dumb as all hell. Most of the fans, I would say, are high school educated alcoholics.
So they're like lower class people.
I hate to use that term. I would just say mouth breathers. I know, it's way worse. My job is to sell hope to the fans, right? I need them buying tickets. When there's not much hope to sell, I still gotta dig deep to find it.
Why do you think there's not much hope to sell right now?
Because we had like pipes leaking sewage on our fans in the middle of the game. And I have to put out a social post saying like, it wasn't sewage water we promised. That is state-run media.
Yeah, and so you can see it's edited, and you can see she set him up, and you can see that, I mean, if this is what the guy says in his personal life when he's trying to impress a chick, I mean, he really is Stalin. I mean, this guy is really out of control. So anyway, this is from this O'Keefe media. They have a cottage industry of taping people without their knowledge. They set people up. Yes, they do it, but they usually do it with stuff
So they
like
send girls out to. Or...
They encourage it, but I don't want to get too bogged down into that. But they do it. But usually, Bert, they would do it with like NPR had
the world
fun.
Sucks now.
That was my point yesterday. So my point yesterday is that we can't handle the internet. It's a social experiment. I'm not the first person to say this. Myself, I'm as guilty as anyone. We can't handle the internet because Bert, and then you can actually talk about this because you're in a very similar position as me. If someone transcribes what you say on the internet or takes a section or puts a video of you, a selected video of you out on the internet, regardless of what you say, what percentage of the people will be negative about what you said?
90.
Yes. So it doesn't matter. Like, even if you are tiptoeing on tulips, you are the most non-racist, you love everybody, this is the greatest thing, half the country's going to hate you. So this guy, I mean, he gave his opinion on, it was obviously like all centered around people's views on gays in the NFL. It's his opinion. And yesterday we said he was suspended. They fired the guy. They fired him. They fired this guy.
This is something he said in his personal life.
He was at a table being taped on a hinge date, hinge dates with this girl, and she's taping him without his knowledge.
And there's no consequences for the girl?
They don't even release her name. No one even knows who she is. She's a quote-unquote reporter, and her name has not even been released.
Essentially, I won't say hired, but contracted to do this by OMG
and
American
the hell?
Swipers.
Seriously, like, what the hell?
But the New York Times, Bert, like, the only reason I know that this happened is it was a lead story on ESPN.
It makes me angry to hear about this even happening.
Yeah.
Because of the environment that we all grew up in, where it's like, I don't know, man. Like, it's just like, I never walked into a bar when I was 20 and worried that there was like a camera in there. Like, that somebody, like, I never even had that thought. And it's like, it's just, this is like, it's the most toxic thing. Like this game of gotcha that everybody has with everybody, and the power of social media. And I've said this to, I say this to like people who've come to me who work in our business that like get really down when like there's people coming after them on the internet. I always say to them, I'm like, the power of social media is it can make 50 people feel like 50,000. It's like, and it can feel like if you don't know what you're doing, it can feel like the world's crashing down on you. Down on you when it's really not that many people.
But Bert, the unfortunate thing about that is it's not only that you can take it personally, it's that you can get fired.
Yeah.
And if you go, and so I'm looking at, because I just am fascinated with what people react to it. People's reaction to what he said were primarily people that didn't even read a story about it, let alone watch the video.
Right.
They just heard
saw tweets.
They saw the heading. And not from O'Keefe Media. Whatever they do is they do. But from like TMZ or whatever that says Commanders executive says black African-American players hate gays and da-da-da-da. And so they read that and they're like, fire him, fire him, fire him, fire him. So there's just this swell because what we do, we, myself included, is we just react, hey, F you, ruin the guy's life. Why look into it? Why say something that people didn't like if you shared any opinion? What if she goes, I want to do this to you sexually, and you go and you answer, yeah, that would be awesome, and I'll do this to you, and she just releases hi, and then it's you, hey, I want to do this to you. Right. Oh, he's a predator. Imagine saying that to a woman, da-da-da-da-da, or a woman saying that to a man. You can't win. If people can just tape you like this, you won't win. You won't win. Not just me. All of you won't win. You'll lose.
And if you want to take it to another level too, what the team in this situation is looking at is, all right, this guy in this role needs to have access and relationships with our players. And so how are our players? Can he come back from this with our players? And what they're looking at is, well, all our players did was read the headline. So they don't want to go in and explain it to the players. They'd rather just fire the guy.
It still begs the question, though, when you're talking about whoever started this and whoever's putting this stuff out there, like, who's getting got in this type of a gotcha situation? Is it the guy that they were going after, which doesn't seem reasonable? Is it the team? Is it the league? I don't understand what they're trying to accomplish by sending this woman out on these dates and recording conversations with this guy. What's the end game?
Yeah, it's such a random guy. So I got to think that it was just a lady that's like into this O'Keefe dude that found a guy from the Commanders and said, because like it doesn't, correct me if I'm wrong, we don't have a lot of time, but it doesn't seem like the VP of content labels for the Commanders is someone they're like, we got to find this guy. Like he's the we're punching up. We got to find this guy and take away his power.
I mean, they probably, I don't know, like that's a weird thing because I wonder if it's just like, well, this guy, like they saw him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They saw him on Hinge,
and it's just like, it's like, oh well, he works for the football
so
team.
let's F him over.
Yeah.
So let's ruin his life.
Right.
So good, you ruined the guy's life. Congratulations.
Like how, like it's like borderline evil.
Bert, it is evil.
Yeah.
And what's funny is that the O'Keefe Media guy is like this really evangelical Christian to what I would say. So you believe in a higher power, you believe in like an order to the universe, you believe in an afterlife.
God wants you to run around getting people fired.
It doesn't even matter what God wants you to do. Like you don't think there's going to be any payback for ruining a guy's life? Like that would seem to be almost like something that would be a certainty. If you were being judged by a higher power, ruining a guy's life for no reason would certainly be up there. Why? Because he's pro.
The funny thing
gay.
The funny thing is, I've found that the people that are running around canceling people and everything else and doing this sort of stuff, they're the people that if work ends at 5 o'clock, they're leaving at 4:59, and they're screaming if you make them work an extra couple hours, and that's a much larger conversation to have. It makes me so angry, like to see stuff like this, like where it's like what are you accomplishing?
Right.
Like, what the hell are you accomplishing?
And it's the thing. O'Keefe Media is super right wing, and then it's just as bad, if not worse, now on the far right or far left. I mean,
it's bad on both sides, no question.
And that's not.
And everything's politically driven and motivated,
and that's not straddling the fence. It's 20 years ago, it was way worse with right wingers. Now it's way worse with left wingers. But the right wing's saying we're still here too. Bert Breer, MMQB, thank you so much. Gary Tanguay, our good friend, was on the radio, and we have more of it. It's fantastic. We will have that for you.
You're listening to
Patriots open up their regular season Sunday in Cincinnati. They were back out at practice yesterday behind Gillette Stadium. Starting offensive lineman City So once again missing. The team will be back out there again today. Bengals star wideout Jamar Chase was listed as limited for a second straight day as well. ESPN reported yesterday the Patriots are also bracing for the news that Christian Barmore will indeed miss the entire upcoming season after being diagnosed with blood clots last month. And the NFL's opening night was last night. Kansas City got a big evening from rookie wideout Xavier Worthy.
And now the Chiefs will bring it on an end around to Xavier Worthy at the 20, 15 of the Ravens, 10, 5, touchdown! Kansas City rookie Xavier Worthy on a perfectly executed, well-blocked end around.
That's Chiefs radio. Worthy had that touchdown run and a TD catch in a 27-20 win over Baltimore. The Ravens' Isaiah Likely was ruled out of bounds on an apparent TD catch on the final play of the game to hand the Chiefs the win. The Red Sox had last night off. They play the Chicago White Sox at Fenway tonight in the opener of a 3-game series. The White Sox have a record of 32 wins and 109 losses. They're in contention to post the worst 162-game record in Major League Baseball history. And at the U.S. Open Tennis Tournament, American Jessica Pegula won to reach the women's final. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Roto-Rooter. Plumbing problems? Call Roto-Rooter. That's the name, and away go troubles down the drain. 1-800-GET-ROTO. I'm John Wallach at Boston Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 8:30.
Start your day.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Work through your day.
What's that thing we do at the end of the show?
And end your day.
I'm not giving you an opinion. I don't know.
Right here. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Twitch feed of this is going to be used all around the internet.
Get up.
The cat is finally out of the bag.
Get up.
We're back. Hunter and Hardy.
Get up.
98.5 The Sports Hub.
Hey, we're Toucher and Hardy. And we're on YouTube every morning. Hi. Hi, YouTube.
What's going on there on the YouTube?
Oh, yeah, you haven't checked in yet.
I log on and...
I forgot about that. You look at it. I actually did.
Mm-hmm.
That means that we're in a groove. I forgot. I don't pay attention to what Hardy's doing on the computer.
Yeah.
They're talking about the weather here a little while ago.
Yeah, why not?
Different places.
Yeah. So you can get the weather on there. We're brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. I want to thank the listeners. Your emails often do make the show a lot better, and I do appreciate when you tell us about things that are going on and make the show better. Okay, so yesterday we played this. Now, Gary Tanguay, again, we all like him a lot. In fact, Hardy and Wallach are suckers that went to do his Emerson class that he teaches and taught it instead of him.
Why is it that when you talk to kids, you're mentoring, but when Wallach and I do it, we're suckers?
Because mine was legitimate and from the heart. Yours was just...
You flew on your own dime down to Hofstra.
Yeah.
And that doesn't make you a sucker?
Hey, I broke bread with Tyler Milliken's cousin. And look, voila, great intern. Here he was.
Yeah. How are we the suckers in these two scenarios?
I flew myself down at the request of my agent, who's an alumni of Hofstra University, selfless. Then I went to the Talkers Convention.
Double sucker.
Which is, oh, yeah, that didn't help the show at all? I mean, come on. They were all the great lunatics in media were there. I mean, it was a real scene.
You mean that guy with a gun in the other room? That guy?
I don't.
Well, he wasn't part of the convention.
Okay.
No, he certainly was. But oh yeah, absolutely.
Ponytail concealed weapons guy?
Whoa!
That was everyone at the convention was ponytails concealed weapons
you
guy.
just described the entire dais.
So did you see on the Twitter, the radio Twitter thing, that the guy from WRKO in the morning, their station was off the air, and he was like, the government did it. That. So he's like one of these guys. Like they were all guys like that. In fact, like some listeners, were, oh, you were at that convention, that's you're like blah blah blah, and like you're gonna get fired. So but not only that, But then, I mean, the kids watched me work, and then they were like, how? And I was like, come. You guys just did Tangway a favor. And
No,
he should be earning his own paycheck.
We mentored those students.
Oh, really? Where are they?
As we spoke to them.
Hi.
That Isaac was my guy.
Yep.
Sebastian was my guy.
Hi, I'm Isaac.
All right, so here we go. Forget all that.
Hey there.
So Tangway.
Say my name.
And again, I want to make it clear, like Tangway's
Say
not,
my name.
Not all right, Isaac.
Hi,
Jesus.
I'm Isaac.
Isaac, Jesus, don't make my coffee
Hey there.
wrong.
It's like he's still here.
So, it kind
Hi,
of is.
I'm Isaac.
Hi, Isaac.
The legend lives on.
All right, so anyway, just please stop doing that. So I got to get to this. So Gary is in an unfair situation. He's been asked for whatever reason to go on WBZ AM, and I guess at night they do a political show, and he's filling in for the guy with the political show. So we played this for you yesterday. Which is, again, it starts
And
with
we're off.
with a bang.
Cracks the mic and...
Hey, kids, it's very important you establish dominance by getting rid of phlegm. Ahem. Here we go. About to speak.
Welcome back to Nightside. I'm Gary Tangway for Dan Ray. Look, I'm not. I don't know politics like Dan Ray. I'm not going to pretend to.
All right. Well, thanks for coming in.
But bum.
I appreciate it. But here's a bunch of half-thought ideas. Here's a bunch of ideas I haven't really put together yet. Yeah. Here it is. Check.
All right. So I misspoke about it's the economy, stupid. I made a mistake. But I'll tell you this. Donald Trump could have done a lot more to stem the tide on that insurrection. That was an aggressive maneuver that cost the life of a citizen.
You know?
You want me to get my facts straight. You got to do the same thing.
You heard Ashley Babbitt? No.
Yeah, this woman, this is the callers you get on this. Hyperventilating. They're hyperventilating.
Sounds like Mel Gibson. You forced me to smoke.
Yeah, but at least his wife was mean to him.
You heard Ashley Babbitt? No, you haven't, right?
No, I have not.
No, of course you haven't. No, because you listen to the left-wing media. You're totally brainwashed with them.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I got to get out of here. Oh, my God. What a headache. I don't know how Dan Ray does it. Jesus.
And that's what he says to his class every night, that he doesn't find one of you to teach it for him.
What a headache. I don't know how Dan Ray does it. Jesus.
Gary, you got to be there at 6 o'clock. You got to at least lecture for a half hour.
Jesus. Rob, help me. I got to take a break. We'll be back on WBZ.
All right, so I
said I would be here for the class on time.
All right, so I misspoke about it.
All right, so anyway, I get this email, and I can't tell you how much I appreciate these things, and it's from Tom, and he said, Fred, great saving this morning. Crapping on Tangway, filling in for WPZ. It's actually the whole thing. It's not Tangway. It's just him being out of place there. I was driving that night, somehow heard his voice, and I'm like, is this freaking Tangway trying to do straight political talk? It was so bad I texted my buddies to tune in. We were laughing knowing that you guys would be crapping on him. All right, so here we go. So he then hips me to this. So Tangway's drowning. So he doesn't know how to do political talk. So what do? You go
sports.
Yeah.
His baby, his background. And who do you get on when you want to talk sports?
Zoe?
Danny Shaughnessy, baby.
Oh!
The scribe.
Okay, all right.
All right. Here's Gary. He's like, it's not going well with the talking politics. Let's knock out some sports.
God, what a headache.
I mean, hey, what? Oh God, what's something I can say that doesn't get me in trouble? That he says that too. Hey, Gary, what about all these drunk driving laws?
Oh, my God. What a headache.
All right, it's very good. All right, here we are. Here we go. Here is Gary getting back to his comfort zone. I have not heard this yet.
BC's back, baby. It's awesome. It's awesome. Look, this is not a college football town. We all know it. Dan Shaughnessy joining me, my friend here from the Boston Globe. The Boston College Eagles pulled off a mammoth upset. I mean, Danny, they were like 16.5-point underdogs. They come out on the road, and they take them to the woodshed. How about that? That was something. It was fun. I mean, when BC's good, it's fun, right?
Yeah, that was really impressive. I tuned in, and I'm not a big college football dog like most people who live here. I know the reach of the program that you're anchoring here is very vast and goes to many places that are college football towns and areas, and we just don't happen to be one. We're a pro town. And good moment, and good for them. And really, Florida State. And again, I don't follow this like a lot of your audience, I suppose, but
yeah, so good. Hey, Dan,
glad to have you, Dan.
Thanks. To be honest with you, I don't follow it. But thanks for having me on as an expert, but I don't follow it. Oh, Jesus. Shaughnessy, get that fro in motion and start lying.
Producer told me to get you on.
I don't know how Dan Ray does it.
He's the only guy who hasn't taught the class yet. Throw me a bone, I'm dying here. Pretend. Oh, no, I'm not even going to pretend to know. I'm just going to tell you I don't care. And neither does your audience.
But Florida State, man, what's the story? As you say, Gary, we're not a college town, and because a long time ago, 2007, BC was ranked second in the country in football for 2 weeks. They really had it going, and so in our town, they're number 2 in the country, and I'm telling you, no one was aware of this, and that's our town, and I don't, radio shows like the one you're doing and the all sports talk shows in our town, they just don't get the audience or they don't get any kind of conversation going the way it would anywhere else.
Well, I think the connection is there has to be a local tie. Now, we can go back to Cowboy Jack Bicknell, who coached at the University of Maine. And
oh, boy.
Cowboy Jack McNell had a big old 10-gallon hat and a 10.
She was a cop.
And a 10-inch piece in his pants. Rocky Suarez saw it from a mile away.
Now Rocky had a cut-off leg to deal with.
All right, Dan, here, let me drop some knowledge. Maine football, 1972. Hi-ya! It's Maine football, 1972. Tangway's 10 years old. He goes, hey, Coach Brian McCliffstein.
The Cush.
Now, we can go back to Cowboy Jack Bicknell.
Cowboy Jack McNell, one of the famous cowboys in Maine history. He was a cowboy half the time, a coach the other. Have you ever been around one of those great steeds when they go number 2? It's a
Producer, send out a Google alert. We're going to talk about Cowboy Jack McNell. The ratings are going to go through the roof. Go.
All right, Rocky Suarez decided it was time to take her horse beat. Now listen, when those horses go number 2, it's a lot.
What the f***?
Just a sweet guy with the cowboy boots and played the guitar.
Oh, no, we haven't gotten to that yet.
Where are we going?
What the hell?
Where are we going,
What
Gary?
the hell?
What's going on here?
Now, we can go back to Cowboy Jack Bicknell, who coached at the University of Maine, and was just a sweet guy with the cowboy boots and played the guitar. And
remember him? Remember Cowboy, sweet boy, one of the funny ones. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, a little sugar in the saddle, so to speak.
Yeah, he was one of them brokeback fellas. Remember him? Back then, we used to call him Sweet.
Right.
Hey, sweetheart, we used to say.
What the hell is he talking about?
Well, jail.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, you leave a honey bun on that thing and call him sweet old cowboy.
That's where it
Leave
comes
a honey
from.
bun in the bunkhouse.
Oh.
You eat that thing, you're my property. Put some Kool-Aid on your cheeks. Rocky Suarez had arrested a few perps. When she went to interview him, he was now wearing Kool-Aid on his cheeks and a mop on his head. He'd been turned out.
You'd see him just standing there with a cowboy hat, boots, but otherwise...
in the news.
That's it.
Yeah, he was learning more about himself than he was about the prairie. He was learning about true love, forbidden love. This is not Takeoff on Brokeback Mountain, but it's about the main head coach.
But we'll be talking about stemming the rose. No, nonetheless.
Hey, usual political audience, here's a bunch of garbage about the guy from Maine. Stick with me, folks.
I'm going to land this plane, don't you worry. Go ahead.
Shaughnessy.
I got to hear where he goes next.
I know.
Well, poor
Dan, come on. Come on. Watch me flex my local muscle.
It was just a sweet guy with the cowboy boots and played the guitar and loved his country music. And Doug Flutie, of course, right? Flutie Mania was a Natick kid, a local kid. That BC is almost... It's like I don't want to be insulting, but it's
a bunch of pieces of garbage. I don't want to be insulting, but Catholics.
A local kid.
Yeah.
I don't want to be insulting, but it's like a gem. Jerry York, again, local guy with the hockey team. There was no connection, and that's why I wanted to talk about this tonight because of Billy O'Brien.
Right. Very good. Well, Gary, congratulations on the success.
Oh my God, what a headache!
But in all seriousness, if you put me on that show at that time, I mean, it would be fun because I would just screw with everyone, but like everyone would really hate me, and not in a good way, because I don't know what I'm talking about.
Or you would get those heavy rapid breathers calling in nonstop.
Yeah, and I'd F with them and stuff, but they and I'm not like I'm a bad boy, but like WBZ would be like, you're never doing this again.
Right.
Like you're just never going to do this again, because I would have no other option than to F with them, because I wouldn't know anything about politics to tell them. You're a moonbat.
I don't know how Dan Ray does it.
I'm actually respect Gary for that. Just, screw all you people. I don't want to deal with this. Who needs you?
Jesus.
I got tenure now.
Tenure prof.
I'm a tenure prof. Let me straighten out my Longfellow. I use that line on everyone.
Working back to school, it works for me.
Yeah, let's get in the hot tub and put on snorkels. All right, we will be back in just a moment.
You're listening to Toucher and Hardy on the Sports.
but it's about the line of scrimmage. It's about controlling the line of scrimmage and controlling the game. They have a high-powered team. They have a high-powered offense, and I think the defense is aggressive because they know they have a high-powered offense, in my opinion. So, those guys on defense, they fly around. They do a lot of good things, and, don't forget about special teams. Those guys play very aggressive, and we have to be able to combat that.
Hey, we're touching Artie, 98.5 The Sports Hub, and every so often, John Wallach says, "Oh, you need a guest for tomorrow? I got it. I came up with this mofo. It's who is it? It's Goodman?
Yep.
Jeff Goodman. Who's another one of your posse?
Well, it was Giardi for a while.
Cedric Maxwell.
Cedric Maxwell, yeah.
That's.
I bet you Giardi wishes still he was attached to the hip to you.
Yep.
He wouldn't be failing so bad.
That's not even veiled.
There's no like, what's Fred talking about?
New England stinks. The Patriots.
Oh.
Talking about the Patriots. They'll probably get the number one pick in the draft.
Yep.
But this is one of them cases. Now, this is Mike Petraglia. Petraglia, of course, Johnny. I apologize. He's a writer for CLNS Media, covering Cincinnati sports, and of course, the Patriots are playing the Patriots are playing the Bengals in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Coming up this very Sunday. It will be heard right on this radio station, and he joins us now on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Michael, hello, sir.
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
I'm well. Tell us about a young John. Was he a go-getter?
Yeah.
He absolutely was a go-getter. He was someone that would stop at nothing, no cost, to get the story or get the sound that we needed.
Yeah. So he was very low level. He was kind of just a guy with a microphone running around.
And we both were. Hey, John.
Yes.
John, both of us would have to scrape the bottom of the barrel to get what we needed, but we got it.
That's very true.
Now,
a lot of late nights for no money.
Were you there when that started to leave him and he lost that drive? Because it's completely gone now. Were you there?
I want to be as successful as John is, to have no drive now and just wake up at 3 o'clock every morning and get ready to go on the air at 6 a.m. and be paid handsomely. That is my goal in my career.
What is true, John does get up at 3 and for 3 hours gets ready for this show. I mean, he showers, he puts on makeup. I mean, he gets all his
Hey, the
together.
YouTube people deserve to see me at my very best.
Hey, John, no one is doubting the time that you get up. All right, Mike, really appreciate you coming on.
Sure.
You did the Patriots stuff for a long time. You were writing at EEI for a long time, so it's great that you were here. But now you're at what I understand your hometown of Cincinnati, and
Correct.
You have the fortune of covering the better team. Jamar Chase's situation, where does it stand now?
I wish I could tell you, and I'm giving you the honest answer right now. We are pretty much in the dark. We're playing a guessing game. Look, we thought, and I certainly thought, that when Jamar Chase showed up on the practice field on Wednesday, for the first time in training camp, this must mean that a contract is getting closer and closer, because he's sat in, as they say, for all of training camp. What was the purpose if he weren't going to get a new deal? So, and we also thought the same thing yesterday when he appeared at practice in full pads and went through everything. And then we anticipated a contract getting signed like the Bengals like to do right before Thursday night. Mike Brown always likes to upend the national broadcast and steal some of the spotlight like they did last year with Joe Burrow. But it hasn't happened. Now we're hearing that talks are, again, paused indefinitely. So does Jamar Chase play on Sunday? We have no idea. My guess is that he does, and that a contract is probably going to get done right before the season starts on Sunday or shortly thereafter. That's also a possibility. But again, we are all in the dark. And I will say this about the Bengals. They do a pretty phenomenal job of keeping there are no leaks and keeping all of the information to themselves.
Okay, so the issue with Jamar Chase is they gave Burrow a contract with 2 years left in his career, but it's a non-quarterback. The modus operandi over there is not extending people with 2 years left on the contract. Is that kind of why this is at a standstill from the team perspective?
Yes. They do not normally give out contracts except if you are a quarterback. And they even broke the rule for Joe Burrow. They had never done that before, where they had player had 2 years left on the contract, and they re-upped. And not only re-upped, but gave all of the guaranteed money within. I should say they guaranteed Joe Burrow a significant amount of the contract. Jamar Chase is looking for that one more penny than Justin Jefferson got. That's $140 million AAV, and from my understanding, that's not the problem. The problem is Justin Jefferson got $36 million signing bonus, and he got $110 million in guarantees, and the Bengals don't want to approach that with Jamar Chase.
Okay, right. They're not the most they're not the most spendy organization, if that's a term. They're not the most loose with the cash.
Not only that, but guys, they don't have the cash flow some of the other teams have. And the real key to understand here is if you're going to guarantee that kind of contract, and every NFL owner is a billionaire, and I get that. But this comes down to cash flow and cash on hand. Do you have the $110 million in the bank to pay the player and put the rest of it in escrow to be paid over the bonus period of time that is required by the contract? And the Bengals may not have that, and that may be a part of the reason they probably are trying to backload the contract, and Jamar Chase doesn't want to do that.
Yeah, with NFL teams, if the audience doesn't know, they have to put the money in escrow for guaranteed deals, and there are organizations like the Bengals and the Raiders that might be cash poor, but also these owners are all obviously hesitant to put, tens of millions of dollars in escrow because it's not making money. If it's just sitting in escrow, like if I have $30 million in the market or doing whatever, then it's growing, and then if I put it in escrow, it's no longer growing. All right, no, you two take the floor. I've told you all about the finances and educated you.
Thank God. From a Cincinnati perspective, Mike, where do Bengals fans think of themselves right now? Because we saw, what a lot of people think of as being, one of the Super Bowl teams playing last night between the Ravens and the Chiefs. When it comes to Burrow and it comes to the Bengals, what's the feeling there? What's the sense of where the team is? How close are they? Is there like some feeling of getting slighted, like they're not in the same breath always when you're talking about the top teams in the league or even in the AFC?
I'll use the words of Joe Burrow. When you get injured, teams and fans and media forget about you. And that's what the Bengals players, the coaches, and the fan base feel here in Cincinnati going into this season. Very talented team, but it's as if the NFL and the media have forgotten about the Bengals as a viable Super Bowl contender. I think the Bengals fans are a little nervous. They're a little skeptical about getting all excited about this season, but they are a very talented team. They are a Super Bowl level talented squad. There's no doubt in my mind about that. But Joe Burrow has to prove that he's healthy. Some of the rookies that they have drafted have to come in and make an impact. They cannot sit back and say, we'll let all of the veterans take the major part of the burden here. They've got to have rookies come in, certainly like Amarius Mims, who will eventually take over for Trent Brown at right tackle. He has to come in and play well. I think they have to have a guy like Chris Jenkins in the middle of the defensive line come in and play heavy snaps behind Sheldon Rankins, who they got in free agency, and B.J. Hill. They have to have rookies come in and play well. But in my estimation, Sunday is about demonstrating to the football world, demonstrating to themselves that they can take care of an inferior team on their home field and do it comfortably well. They cannot come out Sunday and look shaky against the Patriots team. Frankly, they should take care of very easily. And I know the Patriots are going to try to run the ball. I know Gerard Mayo really loves the fact that the Patriots showed they could run the ball with Ramondre Stevenson throughout the preseason. That's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to punch the Bengals in the mouth. And the Bengals have to be able to take a punch and punch back and take care of the Patriots.
We played a clip earlier this week, Mike, from Joe Burrow. He was talking about Jamar Chase, and he was saying, yeah, we'd like to have him on the field if need be. And to us, that sounded like, well, if Chase wants to skip week 1, he can skip week 1, and we'll still take care of business. Standing in that locker room, talking to Burrow and everybody else, do you have any sense of fear that they might get a challenge from the Patriots at all this weekend?
If the Patriots can play keep away and run the ball, I think they think it can be a closer game than a lot of people anticipate. But no, they don't feel like the Patriots are going to come in and dictate the game to them.
Yes.
No. I think that's a pretty simple answer. It's nuanced a little bit by the fact that obviously the Bengals could commit turnovers. The Patriots could hold on to the ball. They could play above their talent level. But I think at this point, the Bengals know if they take care of business, they play their game, anything the Patriots do will be irrelevant.
Okay. And so it's the biggest spread of the week. Do you like the Bengals covering this thing? And do you think this is going to be a blowout, or what do you think?
I think the Bengals win this game by 14 points. I think they cover, Fred. I just do think they take care of business. I don't think there's any question about that.
Who booked this guy? Boo! Boo!
I mean, Mike, you really are alienating the fan base. They were under the impression this is going to be very close. Yes. You're telling me that this juggernaut might lose to a Super Bowl contender?
Okay. I think that if the Patriots take care of business, you got to have me on Monday morning, and I will eat crow. But this game should not be close, and I think the Bengals have a lot riding on the first 2 weeks of the season. The first 4 weeks, I don't know if you guys have taken a close look at the Bengals schedule. They start with the Patriots. They go to Kansas City. Mm-hmm. That's another thing we didn't even talk about. The Bengals, under no circumstances, want to be 0-1 heading in to Arrowhead next week, and then they have Washington at home and Carolina on the road. They need to be 3-1 to start the first 4 weeks of the season.
No, there's no question about it. Yep. All right, Mike, thank you. You do the honors, Johnny. He's your friend.
Mike, it's great having you on. Thank you so much for spending some time with us.
How do they find him?
Oh, that's right. Well, Mike,
they're on he's a writer for CLNS Media covering Cincinnati sports.
At Trags, TRAGS on X or Twitter. I know that much.
Well done, jackass. All right, Mike. That's the skill that you probably learned that Mike that John had right away. I appreciate it. All right, Mike. Thank you so much for the time. We appreciate it.
All right, guys.
And he said that he'd eat crow, Hardy.
Yeah, which very offensive to Wallach. You wouldn't think he would say that to his friend the Birdman, because somehow that is indicative, number one, of someone killing and eating a bird, but also, what a disgusting thing to do.
Well, you know what Mike did that really pissed off John was one Halloween. He just put hay in all his clothes and then stood there, and John would not get within 20 feet of the party. All right.
Keep Wallach from showing up at your party.
Yeah, if you want Wallach to stay away, just buy some hay and jam it in your shirt.
Do me a favor, everybody, when you come in and you grab a red Solo cup, just stick a couple of straws of this up your sleeve.
Yeah.
When there's somebody we don't want stopping by tonight.
But if you put a dress on him when he has all the hay in him, this Yosemite Sam's going to try to bang him. All right, here's the deal.
I know what you were truly alluding to. Go ahead.
I thought it was a great segue. He's going to eat crow.
Yeah.
What about the guy that said if Florida State was going to lose to BC,
Yeah.
he was going to eat something not as bad as eating crow, but pretty bad.
Right. Pretty
and then,
bad.
Yeah, there's a
And now it's just riddled with controversy. It's a bit of a mystery going on with this.
Absolutely. We'll have that for you in just a moment.
Sports Hub headlines.
It's looking more and more like the Patriots are going to be without starting offensive lineman Sidney So on Sunday when they visit Cincinnati for their regular season opener. He missed a second consecutive practice yesterday. ESPN is reporting the Patriots.
Sports Hub.
If your alarm sounds like what? Did anyone hear that?
No.
It's like your alarm sounds like, and then it's just noise. Was that like a Mad Lib?
You ever gone out of your way to like create, like put a certain song in there for your in your iPhone for a wake up song or anything?
Adam and I were talking about this yesterday. Yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh, I've done it a couple of times. I'm surprised that you've done it.
Oh no, it seemed like a really good idea at the time.
But if it's a song that you like and then you grow to hate that song,
That's what I told Adam.
Oh.
Adam's like, he's like, I'm setting an alarm, and he's like, I'm changing the song, and I'm like, and I said, yeah, I used to have that Von Bondi song, Come On, Come On, and now I just use like a regular alarm, but when it's not like the early wake up, like if it's when I have to get up on the weekends, it's still the Von Bondis, and that usually involves the kids, and oh, do they hate that song now.
you know what song you should use?
Wake up. Oh, that's my friend. But I had a different name for it. It was my hand.
And then you just pop out of bed ready to take on the day.
And you know what would be funny is that I would that would just play over and over and over until I got out of bed.
Wake up. Oh, that's my friend. But I had a different name for it. It was my hand.
And again.
Right. And by the way, it's Terrence Howard on the great Joe Rogan podcast where people speak for 3 hours and you all just sit there listening to it for the full 3 hours.
That's right.
Absolutely. You all do every episode.
That's right.
No matter what physicist or whatever, you're so interested in it. All right. Hardy, what is interesting is poo. And what's going on? There's a controversy surrounding college football.
Okay, so a Twitter user that goes or went by the handle @321Nole, Nole, stated, if Florida State loses to BC this weekend, I will eat dog poop emoji out of red Solo cup with a spoon and post a video.
Okay, so the red Solo cup is what really makes it special. Because if you have it in like any kind of glass, it's going to affect the aroma at least. Like plastic is when consuming poo.
Well, it's not two girls, one glass.
No, which I never saw. I never saw that. I never did. I heard radio shows played for people, but I never saw it.
Let me tell you. Let me save you the trouble. There's an edit in it, which makes me believe you're not watching what you think you're watching.
Oh, no, I know it's fake, but yeah. All right, so what happened? So this guy says he's all gung-ho.
Well, would you like to hear a very professional, borderline AI-produced segment on the subject?
Absolutely.
One fan on X wrote a check that they could not cash. Now, this particular fan promised to eat dog out of a red Solo cup if Florida State lost to Boston College. And you know what they say, a deal is a deal. Now, thinking they could avoid those self-imposed consequences, the account was deleted. But you should know this by now, the internet never forgets. So I'm gonna guess that the fan didn't actually eat poop out of a cup, but instead swallowed that L in private.
The internet never forgets because hockey's always been here. You guys, seriously, the internet, it's got a memory like an elephant, okay? And so you can't say something like that and then just like go away.
And elephants are big and they have big memories. Well, listen, if the guy from the Commanders can get fired for being taped on a date, talking about how the NFL's anti-gay, I suppose if you're unwilling to follow through on your bets,
Yes.
you got to remove yourself from the internet.
But I also think it's a very astute assessment from this reporter saying that she doesn't think he followed through on the bet. Oh, no, I'm sure he did, but then he just didn't post the video to get everyone to leave him alone. He probably did it on in private, just to, an honest man's pillow is his peace of mind, Fred. And he wanted to follow through on it because he said he would.
It's like a group saying no cell phones. I just want this moment to exist in the time it exists.
Right.
I don't want it documented forever. Why does everyone know? I am curious. Why does everyone know this guy was going to do this? Like, he doesn't sound like Knowles 1, 2, 3 I mean, the people of Tallahassee do run the media, but how did everyone find it?
Well, one person found it, and then it becomes viral, as they say, Fred. So now the likes of Scott Van Pelt.
They're not down as bad as that dude on the internet who said he'd eat dog poop out of the Solo Cup. But then you think you just get to delete your account, and the internet ain't going to forget that, buddy. You don't get to just keep it moving and get a new name or something. People are going to find you.
Has he developed a bit of a southern drawl?
I don't know if is that Van Pelt?
That is Van Pelt.
That's Van Pelt?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. What happened to him?
Well, he's because everyone in ESPN now has to have an affectation. It's McAfee fever over there.
Jesus.
Like, everyone's got to talk like a moron. They're like, McAfee just
got him $100 million.
Got him $100 million.
Just be conversational, but not in your normal tone.
Well, listen, if I'm Van Pelt, I go, Kelsey just got $100 million, and he does the vocal equivalent of faking Jamaican. And then I see that, Pat McAfee talks like he's been hit in the head. So I got to figure something out. I can't just be a guy from the D.C. area.
Right.
I got to come correct with a draw, because it's college football season. You understand?
Yes. There's a more descriptive analysis from the Barstool guys. I don't feel great about this one because they talk about the different ways it could be prepared.
Yeah, I don't think that's appropriate for our audience. I don't like that. But what
I'm lukewarm on that one, Ryan. I don't know. I think we can just assume that they talk about.
There's not a lot of time, so we won't do it. But you know what? I want to see him eat poo.
You know what? All things being equal, I'd rather see the guy do it. It's the right thing to do.
I mean, if you're gonna make a bet, eat the poo. What do you eat? But think of that.
You don't even have to eat it by itself. I'll put it with a side of
hummus.
There's something.
But listen, would you rather get rid of your Twitter account or eat poo? That's a Sophie's choice.
Yeah, delete the account, which is what the at 321 Noel has done.
Well, he's nothing but a yellow-bellied coward. If I was him, I would have just ate poo instead of putting myself through all this. Now I'm on ESPN. They're saying Noel's fan 123. He don't eat poo. It could have gone viral. That's how Mr. Beast became so big. His first video was just I eat poo.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's how the Kardashians became the viral sensations. You don't know about the first Kim Kardashian
That
video?
was episode 1?
Yeah, it was just poo. No, it was just her having sex.
Oh.
That her mom signed off on the video. Very good. But hey, they're billionaires. Why not? Everyone do it. Encourage your family. All right, we'll be back in just a moment. Speaking of Travis Kelce, there is information that I believe.
Yes.
I do believe this, and it's very controversial. We'll be back in just a moment.
Touch. WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub, a Beasley Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Patriots and Bengals will meet in Cincinnati this Sunday in the regular season opener for both teams. Starting offensive lineman Sidney Soule missed Patriots practice for a second straight day. Darian Lowe, Josh Uche, and Antonio Gibson were all listed as limited. Bengals top gun Jamar Chase practiced yesterday and was listed as limited as well. Both teams will be back out on the field again later today. ESPN is reporting that, as expected, the Patriots are bracing for news that after being diagnosed with blood clots, Christian Barmore will indeed miss the entire upcoming season. The NFL season actually began last night. Kansas City began its quest for an unprecedented three-peat with a 27-20 home win over Baltimore. Chiefs rookie wideout Xavier Worthy had a touchdown catch and a TD run for the winners. And then the Ravens had a TD overturned on the final play of the game to hand the Chiefs the win. Andy Reid had no doubt that the final call would go his way.
The guys upstairs saw it, and so they knew he was out. We were just kind of waiting after that, but we battled so hard down the stretch, for it to come down to that was something.
Game 2 of the NFL season will take place in Brazil this evening with Philadelphia opposing Green Bay. Red Sox had last night off. They play the Chicago White Sox at Fenway Park tonight. And at the U.S. Open tennis tournament, American Jessica Pegula has won to reach the women's final. She'll play the 2-seed Arena Sabalenka tomorrow. Sports Hub headlines are brought to you by Dave & Buster's. Watch football all weekend on their 43-foot TV and try their new 5-5-5 deal. 5 free games, $5 bites, and $5 domestic drafts. Braintree, Natick, Woburn, Providence, and Manchester, New Hampshire. I'm John Wallach of Boston's Home for Sports, 98.5 The Sports Hub. Your next update at 9:30.
You want to talk sports? We want to talk sports.
Squeeze the chicken and open the mouth.
It's like we were meant for each other.
This is why you need us.
98.5, the Sports Hub. On the air, online, on the app. This is how Boston sports fans start their day. Toucher and Hardy on 98.5, the Sports Hub.
Jimmy Lau pulling out these things. This is actually John playing live. Is this what you listen to, Louth, when you're listening to the Patriots? Or you're watching the Patriots on replay?
Are you kidding?
All 22?
He's got the multi-screen going on.
No, but it's the all 22. Because there's no audio with all 22.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder if he wants non-intrusive instrumental music.
This is Da Baby, I believe, but without Dua Lipa.
Oh.
I prefer Dua Lipa with Da Baby.
Yeah.
This is just Da Baby.
All right, so everyone knows that we are brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, and you can watch us on YouTube. Simply search 98.5 The Sports Hub on YouTube. And Travis Kelce, he got $100 million, him and his brother Jason Kelce, who was a center for the Philadelphia Eagles, and of great renown, household name. And the two of them had a podcast, and they put it together. And then Kelce started dating Taylor Swift, and then they went, "Who wants to buy our podcast?" And someone bought it for $100 million. We'll see. I'm having a hard time believing it. It's such a ridiculously bad investment because they're never going to be this famous again. Everything from this point is a downward slide. So, but Travis Kelce is, as athletes go, charismatic. He was pretty good on Saturday Night Live. As much as I think he is, I don't like the way that he changes the way he speaks. I think it's very fraudulent. He is charismatic, right? And he's a good-looking guy. But this does not surprise me at all. And I think it's real. And it's from Fox News.
Which is obviously how you found it, because that's how you spend most of your time.
Do you think these are texts when my phone's vibrating?
Watching Fox News, consuming Fox News online.
It's how me and my dad, we have telepathy. This is how we do it.
It's how they bond.
Yeah. I just watch the news a lot. Any news. I just am always watching the news. Travis Kelce PR firm calls lawyers as document with exact date for Taylor Swift breakup goes viral report. And I believe this. Article. Headline. Scott Thompson, Fox News. Rumors that Kansas City...
Dateline, Kansas City.
That's what I was trying to think of. I couldn't think of it. That's exactly what I was trying to think of. Rumors that Kansas City's tight end Travis Kelce's relationship with Taylor Swift was planned, swirled around after an alleged contract with an exact date they would break up began appearing online. A document from Full Scope PR, a Los Angeles-based firm, began circulating on social media, first on Reddit, with a split date of September 28th for Kelce and Swift. It also appeared to outline a plan on how to handle the reaction to the breakup, including the initial media frenzy to settle and ensure clarity. According to the Daily Mail, Kelce's reps have denied any such plans to break up with Swift later this month. A spokesman from Full Scope told Daily Mail that the document was entirely false and fabricated, were not created, issued, or authorized by this agency. We have engaged our legal team to initiate proceedings against the individuals, and nothing's going to happen to them. The NDAs, right? So I know girls that have been signed NDAs just for being with a dude, a famous dude. I know girls that were offered an NDA at a club in Miami by someone you would be very interested in, and signed the NDA and went about their business, and I have no reason to believe they're lying to me. So let's just get that on the table. It's a fact. NDAs are signed all the time now with celebrities when they're with women. Okay? So, and John, you've been in sports for all this time, but Hardy being in, like, when you did entertainment radio, and radio was like, you had, like, celebrities on and stuff, you obviously know for a fact that there are staged relationships.
Yes.
That there are absolute. Ask Kevin Smith. As much as I don't like him, Kevin Smith, research what he said. I mean, like, do you think John Travolta and Kelly Preston was a real relationship?
No, I do not.
Okay. I know, and I always get weird talking about it, but I know a low-level celebrity who was engaged to a guy I know, but was on red carpets, quote unquote, dating a singer. Mm-hmm. So, like, for whatever reason it was. And so that does happen. I have absolutely no doubt that there is something in place to handle how this breakup, when they eventually break up, how it's going to be handled.
Remember, we were talking about this when they first started dating, and how we thought the NFL, in an effort to expand to a more female-based audience, entered into a contract with Taylor Swift to do this. We were talking about this when the relationship first started, and it faded because those two plucky kids stayed together for the entire season, but now it's come back around.
I'm sorry, Fred, but I had to zoom in and really look at the at the photograph of the agreement here, which starts with some legalese,
I believe it then.
Confidentiality, notice, the objective, but the key messages. Number one, respect and privacy. Emphasize that the breakup was a mutual decision made with respect for each other's personal lives. Point two, stress the importance of privacy during this period. Allow both individuals to focus on their respective personal growth and careers. Number two, professional focus. Highlight Kelce's commitment to his career and his ongoing achievements in the sports industry. And two, showcase recent milestones, upcoming games, and his involvement in major sporting events. And then three, personal growth. Frame the breakup as a natural part of life and an opportunity for personal evolution, and share how Kelce is focusing on personal development, self-improvement, and resilience.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like it, and also how he can perfect the Queenbridge Project accent.
Right.
But let me put it to you this way. If Kelce and Taylor Swift got married, would there be a prenuptial agreement?
Of course.
When they got divorced, would they sign NDAs?
Of course.
Okay, so you don't believe that they have something in place for when they break up? That at least that was proposed from the Kelce camp and there's a negotiation going on?
I would say from both camps.
Yes, and this is Kelce's overture, and now the Swift lawyers are going to, run laps around him. But I mean, because she's a billionaire and he's a millionaire. But that if you, I have no doubt that at a point it becomes a business. Travis Kelce made $100 million because of Taylor Swift. That's why he got that deal. Just like Pat McAfee got $100 million for being friends with Aaron Rodgers. And ESPN effed up, and they didn't realize he was getting all those views because they went, oh, how do you get on the internet? And they go, oh, have the most controversial famous person at the time in sports just do these long-winded, crazy-ass interviews when you don't say anything and just let them talk. So so Kelce owes Taylor Swift a lot. She don't owe him anything. But he owes her a ton. She made him $100 million. That podcast does not go for a fraction of that if it's just those two morons talking. I mean, it's a tight end on the downward side of his career. I mean, you saw him last night. He's not like the greatest thing at running. I mean, he got outshone by the second string tight end for Baltimore. And then you got Jason Kelce, who's a retired center. I mean, the whole point of the relationship.
Without Taylor Swift, that podcast, you've knocked down the door of every sponsor in town, and what are you going to get? $50,000 all told for those two guys?
Yeah,
generous.
I don't know. I think some of these podcast numbers are really inflated in terms of what people get. Like, I don't believe it because I don't believe that there's any way they recoup that because there's no way they're selling $100 million in advertising for a once, twice a week, hour-long podcast. There's just no way. What is it, the Super Bowl?
Well, what?
You get like $1 million for an ad?
Yeah.
It's insane. There's no way. They're never going to recoup that money. So I don't even know if that was $100 million. Because Rogan to Spotify makes sense because Rogan has the biggest podcast in the world, and we want Spotify to become a place like Stern to Sirius. Like, we need like a marquee name that's not a musical act to come on and do this. It's worth the money. Now, is he going to make $250 million like in, I don't even know if there's sponsors on the show, but in whatever? No. But just the notoriety and us being linked to him is worth that amount of money. Like, if you're the Smart List, Rogan, and Who's Your Daddy? And then Who's Your Daddy? Those are the three that make money. Who's Your Daddy just signed with Amazon or something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and again, is the Who's Your Daddy podcast going to make an advertising? Like, by the way, she deserves it. She built that from nothing and turned it into this phenomenon. So she deserves every dollar she gets. She's the anti-Kelce podcast. She deserves everything. She's a talent that has attracted an audience based on her ability to do a podcast. Unlike the Kelce brothers that are getting money because one of the brothers dates the most famous person in the world, and they found a moron to give them money. But don't you, like they'll never recoup that. And I don't even know who signed it. I don't think it's on Amazon or Spotify or something.
How do you pitch that business model if you're the idiot who wants to spend $100 million? What was the pitch? How do you get someone to spend? And it's whatever. How do you get someone to spend $1 million, let alone $100 million, when historically speaking, like you were saying, 99.999% of all podcasts don't do well?
Yeah, and if you do a podcast, that's great if you enjoy it. But again, even Theo Von got ripped off, and he's got one of the best, the biggest podcasts. I actually like Theo Von, and he got ripped off.
I would love to be a fly on the wall for that pitch
because it's episodic, it's not live, so that's a strike against it. And then it's only say they do an hour and a half twice a week, which I'm not even positive they do. 3 hours of podcast sells how many ads, and how many people are skipping over those ads, and you're not paying $500,000 to get a minute ad read on a stupid Kelce podcast.
And I've always wanted to know how they determine if people are actually listening to it or if they can only track download numbers.
Oh yeah, they can.
Or even subscribe numbers.
Okay,
like that subscribe numbers, that'd be easy to track. Do they know if people are downloading it?
So some radio companies got in a lot of financial trouble because they went. This always happens in everything. They went podcasts, and it's not enough to put our shows on podcasts because every radio show is podcasted. They're like, we got to get podcasts. So they paid like celebrities to come in and do these podcasts, and they paid them a lot of money. And then they realized, this is the only reason I know this, is they realized it's impossible to sell. That the name recognition is not enough, because that's why Netflix is going live. That's why they had the Kobayashi eating thing live. That's why they had whoever had the Joe Rogan thing live. That's why they want live sports, is because live is more attractive to advertisers. And also, just thinking about like the skipping over, when you listen to a podcast, do you listen to the ads? There's a button pressed to get over.
The only way you can get your ad definitively heard is if you are the title sponsor of the podcast and the host keeps saying it over and over again. Welcome back to Amazon's Kelsey Brother, New Heights, right? That's what it's called. Welcome back to Amazon's New Heights podcast.
My daughter was watching a YouTube video yesterday when I saw her on the TV, and it was these two kids, and it was really dumb, and it was just like they picked money and then what you could buy at convenience stores. I don't know why she was watching it. It's what she watches. But they, what they did is he did an ad for a gambling company, and it was, say the video was 10 minutes. The ad for the gambling company was 3 minutes.
Yeah.
My daughter just turned it off.
Yeah.
She don't want, like, all right, I don't want to see this anymore. You weren't doing anything that great.
Right.
So everyone's flipping out, and everyone doesn't know what to do, and so there you go. But I believe that those two camps are going back and forth on how the breakup will be handled.
Well,
I don't doubt it.
Fred, just to cover our own asses, as you mentioned at the beginning, I'll mention it here again. Full Scope PR denies the document was issued and authorized by them. So.
NFL. She doesn't need that. I don't doubt that they started like having they liked each other, but then it turned into something way above a relationship.
I wouldn't put it by the National Football League.
She does, but I'd put it by her. She doesn't need it.
Depends on how much money they offered her.
Well, I know how much she gets paid to do a private concert, and that is in and out.
But still,
you're door-to-door 5-hour gig.
Yeah.
And we're talking, what is it, 6, 7, 8 figures to do that?
Oh, jeez.
8 figures for 6 hours of your time, including travel. All right, very good. When we come back, we'll do our award-winning email segment.
Stay tuned for more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
Hey, it's NFL.
Sports Hub. Now, more Toucher and Hardy on the Sports Hub.
You know, I got an idea for a bit. The email bit. We should do the email bit. It's a great idea. Let's do the email bit.
Hey, we are Toucher and Hardy. It's as simple as the following. You can get in touch with John. He refuses to have an H in there. Ever since he renounced Judaism, it used to be John. His name used to be John Yehuda Wallach. And then he has now changed it to Jon Smith Wallach. But he has done so. But you can reach him at Jon at 985thesportshub.com, Hardy at 985thesportshub.com, Hardy985 on Twitter, right? And Instagram?
At Hardy985.
At Hardy985.
No, at Hardy Radio on Twitter.
Yeah, whatever. Do you even use Twitter? So don't even worry about Hardy on
barely.
Twitter. I don't want to confuse things. At Hardy985
on Instagram.
On Instagram. Yeah. And you can get me Toucher at 985thesportshub.com, or you can follow me on Instagram, which I'm told makes me far more valuable to people. So you'd be doing me a personal favor by going at Fred Toucher. Ever since I've been speaking this frankly with people, I'm not positive how, but I see people get hired by companies and they're literally listing how many social media followers they have now. So, and this is one that the station does not have. This is mine, like wherever I go. So you'd be doing me like a direct favor by following me. Yes, Jonathan.
I have something from James, and I'm confused about, and maybe you can clear it up for me. He says here, I turned on the radio, and someone was calling Fred brainwashed. I'm so annoyed that I missed that. Fred is one of the most middling, reasonable people.
Yeah, thank you. No, that was a call to Tangway, who said that they were being brainwashed.
Oh, okay.
That was
I thought I had missed something.
No, that was it. Well, you probably had with that ear,
right?
But nonetheless, you did not miss that. You're talking about,
Jesus.
Of course. I can play. I'll play. You know what? I love it so much, and it's quick. Let's just give you what he was talking about right now. Gary Tangway, guest hosting on WBZ Political Talk.
Welcome back to Nightside. I'm Gary Tangway in for Dan Ray. Look, I'm not. I don't know politics like Dan Ray. I'm not going to pretend to. All right, so I misspoke about it's the economy, stupid. I made a mistake, but I'll tell you this. Donald Trump could have done a lot more to stem the tide on that insurrection. That was an aggressive maneuver that cost the life of a citizen.
We've never talked about this, though. That's controversial.
Controversy. You want me to get my facts straight. You got to do the same thing.
You heard Ashley Babbitt? No, you haven't, right?
No, I have not.
No, of course you haven't. No, because you listen to the left-wing media. You're totally brainwashed with them.
Oh, yeah, that's me. I got to get out of here. Oh, my God. What a headache. I don't know how Dan Ray does it. Jesus. Rob, help me. I got to take a break. We'll be back on WBZ.
I love Gary so much. Good for him. I seriously mean it. Good for him. F this. Who needs this? This is from Andrew. Podcast you always forget to mention that does very well. Part of my take on Barstool, they have made Barstool millions of dollars, and during some rough patches, it was pretty much the only Barstool product making money. Also for the Pillow Talk with Ryan. Best ladies out there telling some crazy and pretty hot things. Have a good day. Gabe in West Roxbury tried calling in. Yeah, I apologize. Part of my take is a very, very successful podcast.
On the podcast subject, Don said, I heard, because I just made it up, that the Kelseys are getting a $100 million payment for their podcast as walkaway money to make nice from billionaire Taylor Swift, who has as much FU money as God.
Yeah, because if they broke up on bad terms, that traditionally is bad news for Taylor Swift. I mean, when she has a high-profile relationship breakup,
sure,
that's generally the death nail for her.
No, she tends to do well with writing songs about it and capitalizing on that. But whatever, Don, I like theories.
Eric says, Rogan, you love going on the Rogan podcast. What do you do for a job exactly? Talking to a microphone for checks notes 4 hours every morning? Touche. Busting your balls, Freddie. I love you. Well,
straight lines,
Vision, dreams,
curved dots that make it up.
if I had Terrence Howard on and talked about that nonsense for 2.5 hours, I would be, my rating would be like I was on a classic rock station.
Oh. Cartesian woman. Yeah. We like the wiggles attached to it.
I do love those. Okay. Freddie T, the relation. This is Joe. He always emails. I appreciate it. Freddie T, the relationship Swift Kelsey is faker than Lisa Ann's boobs, which I believe are augmented. I have the trifecta for the weekend: Colorado over Nebraska, Patriots, and the points. And what would you do if Rodgers gets hurt in the first game again? The same thing as last year. Just like it didn't. I thought I'd get like super upset, but I didn't even. It was just like, okay,
of course.
And then I got all excited they won the game, and I convinced myself that they'd make the playoffs because they showed such power in the face of such adversity.
Was your attitude when you came in here Monday morning. I remember that. I'm like, what are you, insane?
Yeah, I am
What's wrong with
insane.
you?
I am insane. I cheered for the touchdown that cost the Jets to Trevor Lawrence. Now, looking back, I guess maybe you want a hot take. Maybe the Jets were better off taking Zach Wilson than if they took Trevor Lawrence. Can you follow the thinking on that?
I'd love to hear how you negotiate this.
Okay, it might not be true, but it's not insane in that Zach Wilson didn't work out. They cut him.
Yeah.
Or traded him. But Trevor Lawrence has kind of worked out and got a massive deal that sets the Jaguars back cap-wise. So what if he never lives up to the contract? Like, what if he's... Because Trevor Lawrence is... Do you think he's a top 15 quarterback?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Is he top 10? No, he's between 11 and 15.
Okay, but he's... Yeah, all right, but he's paid... Okay, but he's paid like a top 5-6 quarterback.
Again, the payment thing...
But what I'm saying is, would you rather be paying that percentage of your salary cap to Trevor Lawrence, or would you rather not have that on the books and be able to go out and get another quarterback?
I think, well, first of all, Lawrence has won at least one playoff game. Jacksonville is better than average as a team. I think
Trevor Lawrence has won a playoff game?
I believe that's the case, yes.
I'm
trying to remember.
Jimmy Louth.
I'm not 100%
Has Trevor Lawrence won a playoff game?
He has.
I know it's not the Patriots, but you have to tell me what's going on.
Yeah, they had that crazy comeback, didn't they, against the Chargers? Was that the Chargers?
I think it was the Chargers.
Oh, they beat the Chargers? That counts?
Well, yes, believe it or not.
All
But
right.
Trevor Lawrence has won a playoff game.
Okay.
And as I was saying before,
Last year they did not make the playoffs.
No, they did not.
Okay. So, but
I think Lawrence was hurt for part of that too.
That's part of the deal. I mean, that's part of the deal, baby.
The Jets have 1 year this year.
Okay.
And then Lord knows what they're going to look like next year.
What if they got
Might
Dak
be
Prescott?
A new front office.
What if they got Dak Prescott?
Great.
What if? But
maybe they do, maybe they don't. But they're not going to have the same coaching staff. They're not going to have the same.
Take the Jets out of it. Who would you rather have this year as your quarterback? And this is an honest question. You can answer it any way you want. Kirk Cousins or Trevor Lawrence?
It's close. I'd say Lawrence.
I'd go Lawrence.
I think you guys are out of your mind. I think if you looked at the numbers, you would go Kirk Cousins a lot. But what do I know? This I do know. Thomas, also a loyal listener of the show. We were talking about if you want John to skedaddle, loud noises will do no good. Here's what you need to do. He lists them. The most effective deterrents for John. A. Simple scarecrow. Huh? B. A plastic owl. Is that true? A natural predator.
What?
Plastic owls. My dad used to put up a plastic owl.
Of course he did.
At the edge of his yard to keep the geese out, and it did not work. So I would caution against that one.
Well, John, your dad. What is it? I don't know if that's true. That's just you remembering something from your youth. John, is that true? Would a plastic owl flip you out?
Never bothered me.
Would you go to HR if we brought a plastic owl in here? And C is a plastic fox. They have to be plastic if they're made of any other materials. Sure. There you go. Questions for everyone but Chirp and No H. And everyone tells the good joke, but it's been told before that he got rid of the H like he got rid of the Hebrew. He turned his back on his religion.
Fred, we got one yesterday because I know that you were a big skateboarder in your youth. This from Jay in Bellingham, who said, "Cubba dubba doo, fellas."
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, a 15-year-old Brazilian X Games skater landed.
He sends this every day. This guy has sent this to me every day.
Oh.
It's funny. So I'm glad you're reading it.
He landed the first kickflip body varial 900. If you're unaware, the kid is broken and holds many Guinness records in skateboarding. Blah 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 blah. You think you could take the blanket off John's cage so he could translate for us? Because the guy makes a very distinct screech after landing one of these tricks.
Okay.
So have you seen the trick?
Yeah.
Is it impressive?
Yeah. It's impressive. But I will tell you something in skating that I do want Hardy to watch, and you only need to watch 3 minutes of it.
Okay.
I like both these guys. Tony Hawk and Jason Ellis have a podcast together. Like, Jason Ellis is one of the strangest human beings in the world. Like, a lot's happened to him.
Okay.
And Tony Hawk is great. Everyone loves Tony Hawk. They have Adam Horovitz on, and he's on, and it goes for an hour and 15 minutes. I could not, and I like everyone in that room. As a fan
of all three.
As a fan of all three. I mean, Jason Ellis, I could give or take, but I respect his toughness. And I don't think he's like a bad interviewer. And as someone who's interviewed the Beastie Boys before, oh boy, I want. You know what I want you to do?
What's the problem? Is it too manic?
No. It's not too manic at all. It's not enough manic.
Oh,
and
no.
Adam Horovitz is a very matter of fact person, and he's not being a dick, but he's also not being very conversational. And Tony Hawk is not a good interviewer because he's Tony Hawk. I want to see how long you can get into it.
Okay.
Before, as a guy who interviews people, you get super uncomfortable.
Okay, so I'll watch it from the beginning. Is that what you recommend?
Yeah, and
okay.
the reason that it's special and that I want you to watch it is that no one dislikes each other. Like there's no lack of respect in the room. It's not like Horovitz shut down and doesn't like those guys, or those guys don't like Horovitz. They're not particularly good questions, but Adam Horovitz is answering them. But they're not particularly good questions. They're bad questions.
Okay.
They're pretty bad.
All right.
And they're kissing his ass in a weird way. The audience too, if you would like to. And I like everyone involved in this. It's the Hawk vs. Wolf podcast.
Maybe I'll pull some audio, and next week we can try and listen to a little bit of it.
I don't think it's interesting enough for I don't think John would be interested in it. I don't think it's interesting enough for our audience. It's not like David Lee Roth. It's not a failure. It's just as I think anyone who's ever interviewed anyone, I would like to watch it, because usually when an interview goes wrong, the guest is being a dick, the hosts are being dicks. Something went wrong. Someone's at fault, but no one's at fault in this. It's just really bad and uncomfortable. And Horovitz can be interviewed, especially now. He's just let himself go full old man, though. He doesn't even cut his hair anymore. He's just like, what do you want out of me? Bret Easton Ellis used to think he was the sexiest man in the world. Writer of what?
There's
three should be off the top of your head. Bret Easton Ellis, John.
Something with drinking.
Nope. Bret Easton Ellis.
Don't know.
Less Than Zero. Rules of Attraction. American Psycho. Out of here.
Oh. I was thinking of a totally
Less Than
different
Zero.
guy. Totally different. I was thinking of a
You're
totally
thinking of
different
Augustin
guy.
Burroughs.
I don't know who I was thinking of.
All right. We will be back. And Barry Siegel says John interviews people. Who? He has sports questions to writers. I don't know who he's interviewing. Oh, the Celtics.
Yes.
All right. That doesn't count. I'm talking about a musician or an actor.
Okay.
All right. But Barry Siegel jumped into your defense.
Joe Mazzulla doesn't count. Okay.
No.
It kind of doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
I get 6 minutes from him.
Yeah. Try an hour and 15 minutes with Adam Horovitz. Put you two in a room.
Right.
See how that goes.
Try Perry Farrell after he says, "Hey, is there a place where you can smoke around here?" And during a commercial break, he goes out, and then you smell. It's like, oh, he's smoking angel dust. Okay, this will be interesting. And then he comes back in and sits down to continue the interview and won't leave.
All right, I got it.
That's an interview.
Now I got to repeat.
win.
Now I got to repeat my Perry Farrell story that I've said at least a dozen times. In case you didn't hear it. Jane's Addiction playing this theater in Atlanta. For our station, they're playing a pre-show thing in a small room. Perry Farrell is really nice, and he comes up to me before anything starts.
By the way, I've done probably 3-4 conversations with him. He's one of my favorite people I've ever talked to, and did a project with him once. He's great.
He's super unique, but not in a bad way. So anyway, he doesn't know who I am or anything, and he's like, hey, yeah, da da da. And we started talking, and he's like, hey, and he hands me this bottle of Jaeger, and I start drinking the bottle of Jaeger. And him and I finished the bottle of Jaeger, and then one of the people that are with Jane's Addiction, ancillary, record people, whatever, come up to me and they go, "You drank out of Perry's bottle."
That's right.
And I went, "Why?" And they're like, "Well, I don't know what was in there." And I'm like, "Well, it was Jägermeister." And they're like, "Yeah, but I don't know what else was in there." And so I sat there for an hour and a half just waiting for a trip to come on, and then it never came.
Okay.
But it might have been the worst hour and a half of my life, and now I always associate Jane's Addiction with very real fear.
Maybe the power of your mind warded it off, like when you think you're going to throw up and you just focus on not throwing up, and you can sometimes get past it.
You don't know my mind very well.
Goes the other way.
By a lot. I would have lost my effing mind. I'm surprised I didn't anyway, even though there was nothing in there. I'm glad that I drank the Jaeger. I can tell you that much.
If anything, the stress would open up the gates.
Oh, Jesus
Christ!
For the
trip
to
occur.
No! I am not someone to do hallucinogens party. I'm one of those people that would jump out a window. There's no question about it. Now everyone's going to give me ass. All right, we'll be back in just a moment.
Sports Hub.
you stack monster. Ready?
It's time for The Stack on Toucher and Hardy.
Hey, what's up, guys? We're Toucher and Hardy, and gals. We're Toucher and Hardy, brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel. But yet I've never gone on a date with anyone who's ever heard the show.
Oh,
of course not.
That's probably why you got the date. Classic.
Touche. Hey, I got another one. The Stack is brought to you by Best Ford in Nashville. Looking for great deals on new Fords? Go to the Best First. The Best Ford in Nashville. Head to thebestfirst.com.
Couple of things on the game last night. Number one, the bartender called it. He called it on draft night about Xavier Worthy. So last night we know Xavier Worthy had 2 touchdowns for Kansas City in his debut. On draft night, once the pick came down and the pick was traded, Buffalo to Kansas City. Buffalo traded their 1st, 4th, and 7th round selections to Kansas City in exchange for Kansas City gets Xavier Worthy. Barth said on April 25th, when Patrick Mahomes and Xavier Worthy are tearing up the NFL for the next few years, let's all remember to blame the Buffalo Bills. So the bartender called it.
And in fairness, for everyone that craps on Kendra in her picks, Kendra said weeks ago, Xavier Worthy is a bit of a long shot for Rookie of the Year. Take him. And then last night had him for an anytime touchdown. He scored 2.
That's right.
So I do think as much crap as she gets, she does deserve props for when she gets things right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Quick shout out to the Norwood CC13U junior team headed to Bethpage this weekend to compete in the PGA
Christ.
Junior League Regional Finals. 12 teams left. One will make it to the finals in Frisco, Texas. Well done.
Yeah, they beat the team from Mattapan. Hey.
No, you don't know who they beat. You don't know who all they beat. And
No. You know who they're going up to? Compton. So the
just for that, a shout out to Jake Ratty from Wollaston, who won the men's mid-amateur yesterday, eagled the final hole, 64 course record. Well done.
Being good at golf as a kid is like being a good equestrian. It's just because you have rich parents. Now, listen, I do think this is interesting. Hardy, in no sense of irony, is going to the Brayburn Country Club in Newton, Massachusetts.
This weekend, yeah.
To watch a amateur women's golf event.
Yeah, the 41st Massachusetts Mid-Amateur Championship.
Now, is there anyone you're particularly pulling? Is there anyone you'll be following?
No, not necessarily.
No, are you going to bring like a group of dudes?
No, I can't.
And like tailgate?
Now, be careful because getting passes to the hospitality tent is tough.
I can't be inundated with a bunch of conversation and, getting pulled in different directions. Hey, let's go over there. Let's go over there. By the way, this is the U.S. Women's Mid-Amateur. I misspoke, not the Mass. But
now, the
US
Mid-Amateur is better than the Low Amateur, but not as good as the High Amateur?
Well, it's not a junior. It's not a senior. It's the Mid-Amateur.
I just love that you're going to Brayburn. You're going to Newton.
Yeah. Give yourself some extra time for the traffic.
Are they going to, Brayburn's got a 9-hole course too. Are they going to incorporate that into the plan? Or
I don't know if that's part of the championship layout or not. I didn't know they had an extra 9 holes.
Oh, they do.
Oh.
But it's quite snooty.
Oh.
It's like Woodland's like the Animal House, and Brayburn's like the Delta House.
So yeah, like the country club has their Primrose 9.
Yeah, which I could get on anytime I want.
Blue Hill Country Club has the Challenger 9.
Which I played with Matty Siegel.
Yeah.
And Matty called me the other day.
Why is that?
He called and he said that he had talked to his old program director, and the program director had said that the industry was going to hell. And then Matty called me and it talked about himself for 10 minutes and had to go. I love Matty.
Yeah.
But you might think I talk about myself a lot. I don't think I said 2 words.
Are you saying sometimes it's all about him?
I had some curiosity as to what his old boss had to say, but he was not informed nor knew why I would care.
Oh boy.
And not because he's like old or anything, because he just was going like, I'm in the Radio Hall of Fame, like, I gotta. He got screwed.
Did he?
So, yeah, he did.
Okay.
Kind of Benedict Arnold action over there.
Lincoln Park is coming back, Fred. 7 years after they had to, stop essentially because of the death of Chester Bennington, whom you and I both met over the years. He said he was a super nice guy. Did a
He's
nice
great,
thing for you.
great guy.
So they have I guess, kind of like a new lineup, obviously with a new singer, the veteran leader of Power Rock Hellraisers, Dead Sarah.
Oh, I wouldn't have known unless you said Hellraisers.
Yes, the lead singer's name is something Armstrong, or is it just Armstrong? Do they go by one name?
Stretch?
I don't Stretch Armstrong. But Mike Shinoda, Brad Phoenix Farrell, they're both on board. Brad Delson, Joe Hahn. So they're going to have a new album November 15th. They're also going to play 6 arena shows across 4 continents this fall before touring heavily next year.
They'll have no problem selling those based on the bands they're selling out arenas. By the way,
I mean, just based on them alone, I mean, they sold so many records.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so many people were into Lincoln.
I'm not being sarcastic. They are going to sell out arenas. Now, esoteric or any
Emily
hip-hop...
Emily Armstrong.
Any hip-hop heads, I just made a DJ Stretch Armstrong reference, which should give me 1 trillion points.
I thought you meant the toy.
I did, but then I just realized I could have made it cooler by saying Stretch Armstrong, the DJ. So then I did that. Hi, Scott.
Hello.
How you doing? You wipe things down?
I don't hear anything. Oh, wait a minute.
You got to plug your
headphones in.
It's good to see Louth back in the saddle again, huh?
Yeah, baby.
I got some pictures for him. He put them on Twitter.
Well,
he looks good back here.
Yeah, he does.
Miss him at that board.
Yeah. He was good to you.
You don't like T-Bone?
Oh, we like T-Bone.
Oh, boy.
You like Louth better?
Where's your John Hannah jersey? It's Football Friday. He didn't even wear a jersey today.
I can't believe you wiped down that microphone. I'm a little ashamed of you.
I didn't wipe the mic. I don't care about the mic. I care about the hand.
He uses the wipes on his arms and on his face. The Clorox wipes.
Yeah.
You got to take... Oh, you're on TV. You got to keep better. You got to keep better care of your skin. Oh, you need a toner. Oh, you need a toner and a moisturizer and an eye cream.
Kids in high school, they get zits. I said you got to get the Clorox wipes. Clean them with your wipes, and it dries your zits out.
My kids have avoided acne. Isn't that interesting?
Everybody's leaving the show, huh, Fred?
There's the music.
Good Not on bad terms.
Good to see you, Zoe, as always.
Thank you.
Hey, Walk, how many interviews you do?
I'm trying to be cool.
I get Missoula and Brad Stevens
Not
for
air
you.
people's business, but we're cool with everyone. That's true. All right. That'll do it for us. Everyone have a great day. Bye.